Futures downside here this morning as we get going on a Tuesday ahead of what is going to be a much anticipated FOMC decision, not only coming up tomorrow and also the comments from Fed Chair Powell. We'll get a little bit of an indication, hopefully, on what the Fed is planning as far as their interest rates moves or potential moves going into the second half of the year. Big news out of Japan overnight. Bank of Japan cutting rates for the first time in a long time, so moving away from negative interest rates. That has foreign exchange markets all over the place so far today. Market downside here. The Q's under pressure. We'll get a little bit more clarity, hopefully, coming up from Fed Chair Powell on how things are shaping up. Remember, 2 inflation prints in a row last week that came in the wrong direction. We'll talk about Nvidia coming up, obviously, after the keynote speech. A little lackluster, maybe, from Jensen after the close yesterday. Nvidia down here slightly to start things off this morning. It's Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. Tradertv.live starts now. We are right at, essentially right now, yeah, there's Nvidia, 2.6%, right at key support levels for Nvidia, coming back into 860 this morning and trying to bounce off that right now. Pretty active to start after the keynote, after the close yesterday, as we said. I mean, the reaction from the stock indicating it was a little lackluster. I mean, I think the market was expecting a little bit more than what Jensen was able to deliver there. But there's the overall NASDAQ. We'll get into it a little bit further here. Overall market downside as a result. Again, all eyes on the Fed coming up tomorrow. We'll get a little bit more indication, hopefully, of what is to come from interest rate land. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Dot plot coming tomorrow, so all eyes will be on that. Last time we got 3 rate cuts that were supposed to be projected this year. The market, for whatever reason, priced in 6, and so we've been retracing off that assessment since that time. Crypto down, Brendo, the biggest one-day move or one-week move since September. SMCI looking to raise money and give Goldman a cut. Lots of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it goes into the S&P 500, and then they have an offering to raise a little bit of money. So yeah, we'll talk on SMCI here a little bit as well. Apple, meanwhile, I just wanted to show, like, it's not the entire market under significant pressure here. It's mostly just Nvidia. There's Apple, Google as well, just hanging out, down about 0.5%. So 0.2 for Apple, about 0.5% for Google. Like news yesterday, if you were with us, we were talking about the possibility of Gemini showing up on iPhones in the near future. Guys, good morning.
Oh, what's up,
Hey-o.
everybody? Yeah.
I have a wrong colored mug today.
Yeah, I got the right one. So thank you to Sharif for that one. Look, we talked about this yesterday. Does the emperor have clothes? And apparently he's running around a little naked right now, down 3%. Brendan said Nvidia's, I think this is a pretty significant move to the downside. We talked about not moving too much, but I like this move. Nice downside move continuing here into the possible bottom of 850. That's where we're going to want to see if and when this name will stop. You're just bouncing around wick lows right now, so $62, $63. We've seen this before, but you know, will we hold? These are the levels that I'm looking at. That very wick bottom is 841, but it's more like some of these closes that we're looking at, 855 and change. Now, I just kind of say that jokingly. I mean, Nvidia is going to need to take a little bit of a breather. We talked about how it's really been performing pretty poorly over the last week. I mean, it's holding levels, that's fine until it doesn't, and then we'll see where we go from there. I said yesterday on the recap show that, and I even said it here at 3:30 or whatever time it was, as we were preparing for Jensen to come through. If he didn't say anything revolutionary, which he didn't, then I'm wondering about down here to 770, filling this gap. And we talked about where the 50 period would be. It was at 700 yesterday. It's at 720 today. I think we could fall into here. Now, we're not anywhere near doing that. Maybe in the next week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a week, we can get into 700 and change. But I think that's where we go now. It's a great, I mean, the chip is great. You know, I don't think they dropped the price, but if it's that much more accessible and more, it's like takes up what is it, 4% of the power usage of their current H1 chip, their new Blackwell system. So I feel like there are a lot of opportunities here, and there's going to be companies lining up. But what about Meta? Just dropped, what, $7 billion or something on all those H1 chips. Now what about their new chips? Are they actually going to be lining up to buy these new chips when they just spent a whole bunch of money on round one? So I feel like we're going to wait to see. It was nothing revolutionary. We waited for big pops in stocks like Oracle after they announced that they'd be using these chips as well. He was dropping names like Oracle, Amazon, Google, all these players lined up to buy Blackwell. We'll see if that comes through. They're all down today. And as Brendan mentioned, it's a lot of the tech names that are starting to go down to the south side. So we'll pay attention to some of these names. I still like Google from yesterday's talk. But again, it got faded pretty hard into the close as well yesterday and now down again here today. There's going to be a red day in the market, and it's happening today. So you think 0.68? 1.5 probably, again, today to the downside. I could see a little bit more than that, as we'll probably test 1,800. 18,000 again on the NASDAQ would be a good guess for me.
We test 1,800. I'm going to need a lot of apple fritters if we have that kind of a day in the NASDAQ.
Yeah, you're not going to be here if that happens.
No, definitely. The interesting thing about it is like that new, like it's, was it 27 trillion? Is that the number? 27 trillion parameters over improvement over 1.7. It is an order of magnitude better, but that was the expectation. So it doesn't matter technically how impressive it is. I'm sure a lot of people can tell you how great it is, but let's look at what's going on with the stock. In all honesty, like Nvidia was supposed to be a sell at 500 and went to 400. It was supposed to be a sell at like 670. It went to like, I don't know, that local bottom, it barely even moved. On a weekly chart, since the breakout, there has not been any kind of a dip. At some point, it's going to happen. Of course, it's going to happen. But like in a weekly, your $500 is the last breakout price and also the 200 period moving average. So healthy correction, all that good stuff. If 850 breaks today, that's kind of like the one. And then all previous support levels for resistance. I'm going to be looking at AMD and Intel like we always do. There's other names out there that are worth watching. Meta was relatively strong. Tesla had some strength, and we'll be looking at them, even though they're giving some back today. It was a huge bottom that got made in that particular name. But as far as the chip names go, if you start taking out those lows, you're in a world of trouble. Like, don't even get me started about SMCI. SMCI is cranking 900 right now as we speak. This is going to open up short sell restricted. It's down 10% right now. Nvidia is down. It's a significant day for Nvidia, but this is down 10% and was at $1,200 the other day. It's now at $900. So there's names that are really moving, and you got to talk about Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin making some power moves to the downside. So you're seeing a lot of the crypto names start to pull back in, and again was on a huge run. So what you're getting is probably a reasonable pullback. Why wouldn't it be reasonable to be at the 48 to 52 range? On the last dip. I don't think that's unreasonable. When this starts to happen, you start to look for those price areas where you want to be involved again. And great moves up have pullbacks. That's just how it is.
Yeah, 2 million share offering coming through from SMCI this morning, so under pressure significantly there. It's worth noting we did get some housing data there at 8:30. Building permits coming in higher, 1.5 million versus 1.48 million. We also got housing starts, 1.52 million versus 1.4. Across the board here, it looks like upside definitely. Building permits month over month, 1.9% versus negative 0.2%. That's a big move higher. I wanted to talk a little bit about, Neil was mentioning crypto there. MicroStrategy, and they're buying up more. We were talking about 51,000, I think, the last time they came through with a big ad. So they picked up 9,245 Bitcoins worth about 623 million. So here's MSTR this morning, 1350 coming back into play here, 2 days in a row here. It looks like downside significantly.
Yeah, it was down double digits, trying to retrace a little bit above 10% now. They also completed their $603 million offering, which they're paying very low interest at relative to market. And they're using some of this money, obviously, to purchase some of their newer Bitcoins. So we'll have to see how it does on the day. Bitcoin had its best week, obviously, last week with hitting that $74,000 area. But Brendo, we've had a lot of slowdown here in the amount of money that's going into some of these ETFs. We had almost $400 billion a day flowing into some of these ETFs that slowed down a little bit yesterday to about 178.
Yeah, not only the ETFs downside this morning, I mean, everything related here under pressure. Coinbase even 5% already here, guys, pre-market.
5% on IBIT. Obviously, when you're tracking the ETF, like, you know it's going to go close to close. The 24-hour market doesn't sleep, and we know that's what Bitcoin is. Obviously, I don't think we're going to get the 40s in Coinbase today. If that happens, congratulations to everybody that's long right now in the morning, but I think that's pretty unlikely that you're shorting the levels that we really liked in the afternoon yesterday. But if there is a pop, I just feel as if when you're in this bit of a pullback, even if there's some exuberance off the bottoms, even if you start to make a little bit of a bounce, something like a coin, to me, is still in that retracement phase. And Mara, to a certain extent, as well. I think when you group these together, I like support into resistance and looking at those low 30s for Coinbase specifically. All of that said, we have been trading some IBIT. But it's a very specific setup that I've been looking for in IBIT, which is show me a big level that cracks down, and I want the wick reversal. Sometimes it's extreme, like you can see an extreme wick reversal there. Sometimes it's a little bit more subtle, like a barely breaking the top and then a reverse. What happened yesterday was this little double bottom. So it got to a low at 38, it then wicked the bottom. 37.92 was ended up being the low, and then a quick little reversal trade. I'm expecting more volatility today in Bitcoin than yesterday. I think that makes obvious sense. So that would set up those trades just a little bit more movement. If it is a move up, 37.5, support. If it breaks out here and does a wick that fails that area, I'm shorting it. Similarly, I go all the way back to the last big down event on the 5th. This was a huge reversal when we faded the 40 level. You remember that was a pullback off 70. Bitcoin got all the way down, I think it was like 61 or something like that, and the 34 level got tagged on IBIT, 35 came back through. That's the area I'm looking for on a crazy wick down. If there is a wick that breaks 35, I'm looking for the reversal back up. And it's a setup that I've seen a couple of times here. I like trading IBIT. We've done it a few times. I like the fact that it trades, it's an ETF, so it's going to look just like a stock. So if you're accustomed to that, you're good to go.
Look, we talked about Mara on the podcast. We've talked about Coinbase. We can do a little bit of both. There's Patrick paying attention to here, but he's not really behind us. He's a couple seats over, but you can see him there. Wave Patrick. There he is. There he is looking at all of this. All right, let's do Mara because Patrick's here. All right, looking at Mara. Now, we've talked about why this is going to be an interesting name. We have the halving coming up soon. You're down another 6% here today. It was a good day yesterday for Mara. There's no doubt about that until, of course, we started to get some crypto worries. Nice little move up and then a nice retracement back to 1950. So right now, you're just hovering around yesterday's bottom. But the thing about Mara is, it's going to move with Bitcoin, but it still does have a mind of its own. I mean, early on yesterday, we went up from 1875 all the way to 1950, then back down into this area of concern again. So I'm just going to look at a 20-minute chart here for Mara to see if we can find a bottom. So that bottom 17. Look, the price of Bitcoin matters, obviously, because when you're mining, you want what you're mining for, the value of that to go all the way to the upside. I just think this has been overdone to the downside right now. It's already taken this into consideration, I feel like. And then now all these crypto worries about what's going to happen to hash rates and all that. I mean, maybe Mara's got it figured out. And when we talked about this on the podcast, we were talking about $15, $16 as a possible bottom. And that's when the stock was up here at $24.25. So we get some nice whooshes down here. And I feel like this is a buy into some good support for Mara. So You know, if we get into that 17 and kind of make that bottom, if you do have a stomach to hold this down about $1 and change into 15.50, then I actually like this Mara trade. But again, it's very, very difficult to sit here and talk about these names when really the big daddy is going to be BTC. That's going to tell us what the momentum and where the trend is. If Bitcoin just hovers around, then I really like this Coinbase short. Yesterday, we never got this low. We never got to 63,000 on crypto. And right there, that bottom was 230. So I feel like if we zone up in here into 230, have the 200 period moving average at 233, I feel like these are shorts into 234 here. So if crypto does get going, I like the short into the 200 period for Coinbase, 234 and change. You want to talk about Emperor having no close. I don't understand why this went all the way to the upside the way it did. Now we do have Solana. We did have some meme coins starting to go crazy. And of course, there's going to be a lot of trading there over in Coinbase. Other than Coinbase getting transactional fees, and I don't know how expensive those are, I mean, this has such a monstrous run. This was just 120 at the end of February. And then now you're all the way up to 280 before fading back to 220. That was like 100 and change % to the upside in a month and a half. I think it's a fade, and I'm going to start that at around 234, 235 if we get to that level. If we start to break lower, then you just play it like it's an earnings play and take the pre-market highs or lows. So right now, Coinbase looking okay as Bitcoin holds 63. I'm a fade up there mid-230s.
That's housing data. I did see a couple of housing stocks or housing-related stocks pop up. Lennar was one of those. Big move down off of earnings already for LEN, but it did get a bit of an uptick there, back to 156, 155. Still red in the pre-market here for Lennar. Yeah, let's mention Alibaba here real quick. Nothing significant as far as news, but if the market's going to be weak, Chinese ADRs have been under significant pressure as we've been talking. I mean, Alibaba just chopping around here in the range, but yeah, new CEO for their grocery arm announced. Nothing significant, but downside once again this morning so far for Baba.
Yeah, and they're down 6% year to date, Brendo, so they can't catch a break. Yeah, looking to add some fresh leadership to one of their segments here. They're still reeling after that regulatory crackdown a few years ago by the Chinese Communist Party, as well as PDD, who's been coming for them for online shopping. PDD had an excellent 2023, unlike Alibaba. So we'll keep eyes on it today, down almost 1%.
We'll keep eyes on the foreign exchange market as well. We had this surprise move. I mean, it's not really a surprise, I guess. We've been talking with Frank over the past couple of months about the Bank of Japan hinting at the possibility of exiting negative interest rates. That actually comes to fruition. So China, obviously a big trade partner with Japan. So downside here for all of these this morning, guys. JD under pressure, significant 2% here already.
What's going on with JD in the afternoon yesterday? Just give me, I have to indulge myself for a second there. I know you saw what I saw there.
No, I didn't even see it. That's what I was looking. I'm waiting for you to call it up.
Look at this.
Oh,
on
that's
JD.
probably a sell imbalance or something.
Yeah, but like it goes essentially $28. It just holds $28 from 11:36 right until 3:50 when there's clearly a sell imbalance.
Too, yeah.
Like that's. Wow. I'm never looking at it. I'm not really looking at JD in the afternoons, but if you ever see that, I mean, short it when it breaks 99 and just take a shot, like you're probably risking 5 cents, and if it goes, it goes. Like that's the kind of thing. I mean, as a day trader, you know, you get excited about that because you get like a couple of minutes. You know it's going to resolve itself in a couple of minutes, and usually when you get a flat bottom break like that, it'll be pretty good. But Alibaba, it's at and been hugging the 50 period, and once again, you're going to do battle with that today at 73.25. There on the daily chart, so that's just a simple moving average. So you have a little bit of a gap. That's because it was support. So right in here, 73.25. If it's underneath 73.25, I think it can be weak. What's interesting is the market. If the NASDAQ falls, let's say we have continued red day. Chinese ADRs don't always have to follow suit. So this is one where if we're breaking out past 73.25 and we go green, this goes green even in some market weakness, I'm only looking for longs above 73.25. When I look at a line in the sand like that, you're either long in front of it, I think you can play shorts in front, and then if it's breaking out, I don't want to be fighting Alibaba. And if JD, for whatever reason, gets back to that $28 level, I mean, if it was a wall there on the way, like holding it up, if somehow it gets back to that level, I'd probably be looking for a short there. I'm not going to assume that there's going to be big orders at that price, but when you see something like that happen, clearly there's some significance to that level, and it also happened to be a key closing price if you go back to last week. So I like this 28 on JD. At this point, I doubt we get a chance to transact off of it, but that looks like a short the pop at that price if it gets there.
All right, I actually have written on here on this sticky note. We got to get it out. We were busy this morning, so the sticky note's going to be a couple seconds late, but it's going to be on in just a couple minutes. I like Alibaba. I didn't even know about this negative story there. Today. But excuse me. The thing about it is, forget about comparing it to JD or PDD or anything like that. The European Commission, I believe it was the European Union or something like that, came out and said that they were investigating Alibaba for, I don't know if it was pornographic or just indecent sales of certain items that were prohibited and or negative in nature. So that really started this move to the downside. That's this gap that one day into 75, and since then there's another move back down to 74, and then with the market kind of pulling back right now in the whole tech space, Alibaba's a huge cloud play as well, so don't sleep on that. They also have a 25 billion share buyback, so we really like that as well. But I'm just going to write down 72. I mean, I've liked Alibaba down here at 72 bucks before. We only have one real candle in the last couple weeks below that, and it was bought up, and the bottom was 71. So I think we can support this on some negativity here today. It's just traveling with the market, and I like the name. And then just like Neil said, these things don't move too much in the afternoon, and neither did Alibaba. It doesn't have as much of a dramatic push down there, but it still breaks the level and makes these lows. But the thing about it is it stopped at 73.50. So I think we can get back easily to 73.50 today. So if we can get a gift down here at 72 proper, then we're going to take that bid. I'm going to put it out right now. I really like Alibaba down here at 72, enough that it's one of the top ideas here on the sticky note. All right, we're both wearing blue and she's wearing pink. Let's go over to Adara at the screen.
Navy blue.
Lots of really interesting names on the upgrades and downgrades list today, including 3M getting an upgrade here from Barclays, GitLab getting upgraded by KeyBank today, Wayfair with an upgrade from Mizuho, and Mizuho also upgrading Home Depot. Snowflake got an upgrade yesterday, today getting a downgrade from Redbird Atlantic, Zoom getting downgraded by Jefferies here, Wells Fargo downgrading NewScale. This one was running a little bit yesterday, so interesting look here for NewScale. Last but not least, Argus giving Jabil a downgrade, guys.
Snowflake. It's not a...
Was Snowflake downgraded?
Yeah, Snowflake with the downgrade. And what's interesting is Palantir is on a flat bottom level. So if you think of this as adjacent names, one is doing something different than the other. Snowflake got whomped on earnings, if that's even a word you can use in this situation. It failed the 200 period moving average, 50 period. That, Neil, was $50 ago on Snowflake. Failed the 200 period moving average and has had, I think there's like a small green day in here since. 140, I don't have to tell you guys, you can look at the chart. Back in November, this was at $140 and just grinding higher. It got to 240 bucks at that top. It is now like one big day sell event to getting back to the 140 level. So let it get there. 150 maybe some in play today, but this is on almost like in a collision course with the October lows, which we've been talking about. I mean, what were we saying? We're saying like almost nothing was at the October lows. I think Apple bounced off the October lows and not a heck of a lot else did. Snowflake's there in a heartbeat at this point. And going to your pal, I actually just tweeted this out. Oh, I lost my, there it is. Let me just put this line back in on the chart. Palantir, 2340. Once, twice, today will be the third time. It wicked this bottom yesterday at 2340, got down to about 2332, and then ran 90 pennies, almost a full dollar reversal. It's now given all that back. If it maintains this low, I think it's got a 50-cent move in it to the upside. If it breaks this bottom, this could easily be, it's not going to do what Snowflake did. It's been obviously stronger. But if it does make that breakdown, you've got room for this to see like the 22.5 to 22.75 range. So Palantir in play. Yesterday's low break, it's 23.30. I think it's got some room to the downside, at least to the even dollar. if it wicks the bottom and holds this 2340 level, you could have a nice upward move. So I'm willing to be in either direction off of this. It's just a matter of whether it breaks that low.
Guys, give your boy a minute here. Everyone wants to know about the sticky note. I told you it's coming out. We actually had a webinar with an Italian bank today, so shout out to them. So we're just getting set up. Look, I'll show you the thing about Snowflake here. It's coming out. Just give me a minute. Because I have to talk about these names too, right? Look, this is the problem. Snowflake's PE is 196. You know, so we're going to have to figure that out, what's happening here with Snowflake, as opposed to my boy Palantir right here, that only has an amazing PE of 72. So a lot of these names are still way too high. I still think Palantir is a buy, but you're going to have to let some of these settle down as we continue to worry, honestly, about valuations now. As we talked about Nvidia pulling back in, so some of these AI plays that have really been heated, and Snowflake has really missed. So, you know, unlike Palantir, which has a green candle to the upside on their earnings, Snowflake has the red to the other way. So here's Palantir on earnings. There's the nice move up, and here's the fade back into a level that I think could be bought at 20. So we'll cake a little bit more off here. You need at least another 15% down for PLTR. Like Neil mentioned, that could be the end of this week. I think you start to buy some Palantir. I may get into some Snowflake. I'm going to find out exactly what the deal is, and I'll tweet it out about Snowflake. I want to make sure that there's some buys on the street, what analysts are saying here, because this is another big data company that I really love big data. I just think that AI and analyzing some of this is going to be the future. Not just the fact that all these companies are buying Blackwell, the H100, all these chips to be able to gather data, put them into large language models, but then they need to be analyzed. So I still think Snowflake and Palantir do have a big place in all of this, and they are going to be home runs. It's just a matter of waiting for it. You know, it's like on a 10-game, no-hit streak right now for Snowflake. So
That's extreme.
They got to get back going.
10 games without maybe like not scoring. No hits is a problem.
No hits, I'm talking about.
No runs.
No hits. I'm talking about going 0 for 5,
goodness.
like as if you're like, Manny Lee or something here. From 240. Think about this, Neil. You just went from $240.
There you go.
You went from $240 straight down, basically $90 with one green day for the whole month. So I feel like, man, you're getting golden sombreros left, right, and center here if you're Snowflake, looking to get that fastball right down the middle. Will it come? Maybe it will.
You got to wait for the 140. But I reserve those kind of. If I'm showing a chart of like the EV names, then to me it's like, yeah, that I'll use those extremes, because I feel like a lot of the AI tech names, like really, yes, it's a big pullback. But in the grand scheme of things, if you look at it, okay, so it's giving up October to now. Like when the ramp up is so big and you're not actually out of the money if you bought it half a year ago, it's big pullback, but psychologically, people are probably feeling that psychologically more than anything else. And if you bought tops, I mean, everyone and their mother was saying this is getting a little bit overheated. But I'm watching Palantir for a trade. Snowflake it's worth looking at, but I don't know that that's the first place I would go to for executions. I mean, Palantir does much better relative volume. Palantir always has the better spread. Percentage moves are fantastic on Palantir. It just gives you a better trading vehicle, in my estimation. And you got to pick your poison.
Relative weakness coming into play here as far as the market is concerned. Market back to the upside. Robinhood is one I was mentioning. Downside here, 5% right now for Robinhood at session lows as well. They've run into a bit of a hurdle, it would appear, launching their UK business.
Yeah, Berno, they wanted to launch in the UK since 2020, but it's been put on hold for a number of reasons. Still not without its problems, though. So because of the UK regulator, they won't be able to offer margin products to their clients in the UK, which is obviously going to hold back some of the new enrollments there. So we'll have to see how they do. Down aggressively, though, almost 5% on the day this morning.
Yeah, we have to remind everyone, this thing is up enormously in not only the past month, but year to date. You were saying 30+% year to date. I mean, it's 60+% in the past 30 trading days. So a much needed pullback here, guys, for Hood.
What is going, either they don't know, don't show, or don't care what's going on in the hood. And, I feel as if we did, because we cared enough when this was consolidating to put a poll up and have a discussion about it. The downside of that poll was the other company was SoFi. and 50-something. It was probably actually was 60-something% backed SoFi, and Robinhood was the way to go. But relatively speaking, this could be at $16, and is anybody thinking that that's an unreasonable dip? Forget about October. It was February. This was $11. That's like the beginning of February. So if it pulls back into $15.5, $16, which is the support level, giddy up. Like that's a reasonable level for it to come back into. You're kind of feeling like you're breaking this bottom. So the next support is like 17, and then you get to that $16 and the 15.5. So I don't know if I want to stand in front of any falling knives necessarily in a Robinhood today at that first level, but if it breaks 17, that down at that 16 area on a pullback, whether it's today, tomorrow, maybe it's a Fed level, like maybe Powell hits the podium, and then all of a sudden we're looking at a bunch of stocks that give you great support levels. I don't know coming tomorrow, but that's worth watching. Let these things get back to, after exuberant moves, some reasonable price levels where I think you can look to previous support to be dipped by them. Standing in front of the falling knife, not so much.
All right. I'm working on the sticky note and haven't had a chance to look at Robinhood. I probably won't trade it. We'll look at SoFi, Robinhood as they open up. But for me right now, my eye is just on all these tech names with the big mover happening with Nvidia. We're going to be looking at AMD, Marvell, Micron, Intel, all that. So I'll pass on Robinhood until we get going and this market opens up. So it'll be a focus of mine, but it won't be immediately. That's Robinhood.
Back to 0.3% here for the S&P. We're stalling at around 0.5%. Let's get into everything else we need to know here. Sharif's going to lead the way with a look at the market.
52.15, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday. The overnight high, just a smidge above that close, 52.19. The overnight low, 51.86. We're below 5,200 right now. So if we can reclaim that level, let's go ahead and say yesterday's high is going to be the resistance level around 52.30. Let's see if we can hold above that overnight low at 51.86.
If you have not done so yet, make sure you sign up for that. It's absolutely free, so why not? Just scan that QR code, go to tradertv.live, enter your email address, and then you get the watch list delivered right to your inbox every single day. Has everything you need to know on it. In the pre-market, including Nvidia, back to the downside, as we said this morning, 2.5%. Just bounced off 860 again, trying to get higher. But coming off this keynote speech from Jensen after the close yesterday, I mean, there's a lot of opinions on this from analysts I was reading just over the past couple of minutes here. But I think for the most part, people are a little disappointed.
I am. Yeah, I am. I got to tell you the truth. I watched the entire keynote yesterday, and ChatGPT, here's a little metric for you. ChatGPT 4 would have taken 3 months to train on the H100, which stands for Hopper, okay? It's going to take the same amount of time to train ChatGPT 4, 3 months. The only thing is, you're going to use less CPUs and a little bit less power. That's not really the look that I was going for there. I thought we'd have more compute for the money that they want to actually dish out on these new chips. So we'll have to see how they do, but a little anticlimactic for me.
Yeah, it gets to a point where you almost think, what else can they possibly do at this point? So back to the bottom end of the range here, holding on to key support levels right now, guys, for NVDA. Remember, 3 more days of this, too, coming up this week.
True, there are a few more days, but generally speaking, as I think you referenced already yesterday, Brennan, is when you get that first day of the event, they let you know what the meat and potatoes are going to be, and you don't usually expect many surprises after that. So I feel like this is, the reaction that the market doesn't necessarily love it. Sharif's points, 100% valid. Price usually matters a little bit more in this particular case, and you're seeing it down that 2 points. Now remember, some names are down a heck of a lot more, and Nvidia was just at $850 last week, and it did a nice bounce off of that level. If 850 breaks today, I just feel like that's short through 850. Level breaks have been, to me, the most consistent trade on Nvidia for myself the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I feel like that's sort of an obvious one. If there's any kind of upward pressure today, I'm not really seeing a lot of long setups. Like you would have had to hold 880 and then try to break out 95s and 900s for some obvious long breakout trades. So it's really just the 850. And for shorting pops and looking for curl trades, I defer to, I'm already on AMD because it had this key close price going to last Thursday, down here around the 180. It was right at this 187 area. So you had previous support, you were 188 yesterday, you had that close area of 187. I want to short back into that on Nvidia. So, sorry, on AMD. But if 850 doesn't hold on Nvidia, I'm just going short through that level.
All right, so the number one trade idea is going to be AMD. So those of you guys were waiting for that, there it is. So we've released that. I'm just writing the note right now on the sticky note. We'll look at Nvidia. I mean, honestly, it's been an amazing trade. We've traded this really well. I think, you know, yesterday, just in the afternoon alone, we probably took net 10 bucks probably. We went short 890 numerous times and started to cover them, and it was fantastic. You guys saw us really sort of own this stock there in yesterday afternoon, going short up here at 890. It would have been nice to hold overnight, but we cannot. But there's the bounce, as Brendan mentioned, at 860. So we'll see if it can hold that level. You take down 850 here, a key psychological level, and I think that's a punch short. So we'll wait to see if it gets up there. This is a fade at 875. So that's what we're going to do. We get up to 875, we'll fade that, but I am much more concerned about fading AMD up here. I really think this, again, 187, anything up here, 189, 190. Like, if we get back upside here on AMD, it's a fade for me. Not only does Nvidia come out with this bigger chip, AMD just sits there and watches it, and now you're having a huge move down. Anybody that's like, we can celebrate all these moves up, but like, why are people sleeping? Like, this is a big move down. You know, it's like when Snowflake goes from 230 to 150, that's a big deal. Like, this is a big deal. This just went from 220, right? The high up there, 227, 215 down to 182. That's not nice. It's a straight move down right back into the 50-period moving average. And yeah, you have a big move to cover back here. You know, like, I know we said that, you know, we're not too worried if anything comes back down to some of these October lows. Well, that's half price for AMD. So you better start thinking about taking some profits if you haven't already, because the minute you break this 160, you can forget about AMD, and then I'll be talking to you guys at 130 about this name. So we've been selling, we've been, you know, talking about this. This, you might say, oh, AMD's at 182, all is well, but that's fine. It's well and it's fine. If you're going to be playing the long game, then this is okay. AMD is more expensive than Nvidia, and it's getting taken out today. So down 4%. I still think this is pretty weak. And look, if you don't have confidence in your trades, then you shouldn't be trading. We've talked about that over and over again. I'm confident on this short. I hope you can tell that when I speak.
I was just reading a note here, guys. AMD saying adaptive computing technology power Sony semiconductor. So there's a note there on AMD with Sony. I'll get to that in a sec. Let's touch on Bitcoin here real quick. 64,000 comes and goes. We're below it and firmly below it right now. 63,400. That last support level was around 64 for Bitcoin. So as we were saying, absolutely everything equity related here downside this morning.
Yeah, it could be, you know, in light of the fact that we're going to get the interest rate decision tomorrow, and maybe the dot plot will not be as advantageous as it was in December. And so there's some selling here. Yesterday, there was definitely a lot less money flowing into these ETFs. 178 billion flowed into the ETFs compared with last week, when there were several days where 400 billion plus was coming into some of these spot ETFs. So we'll have to see how it does today, Brendo. But Bitcoin is still up 52% on the year.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. So it looks like this. So Sony is working on a LiDAR automotive solution, and it would appear that AMD might be powering said solution for Sony.
Amazing. Were they losing money on that deal? Because AMD just continues to go down here. So there it goes, man. I mean, deals announced. I'm expecting some of that happening today. We talked about that with Nvidia as well. Look, we just talked about crypto a little bit here earlier. So the sticky note's now out, so everyone can go find that at Trader TV, Sean. It's now out definitely on X, probably on Instagram in a couple minutes. But right there, 230, 228 has been the pre-market high. I don't think we necessarily need to look at that. We've taken $10 on this name. We've taken $20 on this name before as well, down 6%. So the fact that we've had such huge winners makes me think and understand that this name can get right back upside again as well. So I'm looking at, actually, I just wrote down this area on the sticky note in and around 234, 235. Again, nice dip down. You get that garbage out of there. Then you think about what you want to do, and then you get back up to the upside. So right now, crypto is pretty much deciding what it wants, and it wants to go southbound. So here's a chart of Bitcoin right here. What I'm looking for, Is this the, okay, correct itself, there we go. So there's the levels that we have to talk about. So there's 66,000, 67, we broke lower. You know, yesterday's trade, if we can even zoom out maybe a little bit, well, that's 5-minute chart, so we will have yesterday's trading. So this is that spot, 66, 67 that we were talking about for BTC. So if we get back up there, maybe we can short Coinbase in and around those levels. So let's watch out downside right now for Coinbase, but if Bitcoin gets going, I really like the short up here in and around that 234-ish area. We have to hold this for a minute. I put that on the sticky note as well, that we're gonna have to hold to see. I was gonna talk about Mara, but I see Neil has it up. So yeah. I just think that Mara is a buy down there at 15, 16, but it's gonna have to get there first. I think patience is pretty key here. Down 7%, maybe we go down 10, but Mara's not a buy here, a little bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, I like the same support into resistance on Coinbase, but Mara also has a level that we're trading off of yesterday in the afternoon. Let me just go to the 3-minute chart. Maybe easier. Oh, no, it's going to be better on the 15-minute. I'm going to be off that $19 area, and maybe a little bit higher if it goes up on a pop. Now, remember, part of the reason why you trade these is because they're going to give you bigger moves in the underlying name. Right, so what I like about that is they're going to move percentage base a little bit more than you're going to get in BTC, which I think is a little bit valuable. So I'm going to be leaning toward trading those two. I'm going to be shorting pops. There is a setup very specifically that I like on IBIT, and that is that reversal trade that we're looking at yesterday. It's a lot easier to see. It flash broke, didn't really flash break the bottom. It trended down into a defined low at 38, then wicked that bottom. Got to like 37.92, and then came back up. I went long at 01s and then rode it to VWAP. Now I'm looking for similar plays in that vein. So if you make a double bottom or a triple bottom, or just even get anywhere near that 37.50 on IBIT and then try to take it out in reverse, I want the reversal play. And I don't care whether that's a wipeout bottom or a wipeout top on IBIT, but today it has to be extreme. That was a subtle one yesterday. It's got to be an extreme one, like back at that 35 that we saw on the 5th. It's just a pattern that I like on Bitcoin, and the fact that we're able to now trade this, we're trading in an ETF, which is the same thing as trading equity. It's just fantastic as a trader to be able to express trades in something that looks the same, feels the same, and then you can apply setups that you're used to using. So I like that little bit of a trend reversal trade on IBIT. As long as it sets up. Like yesterday, we were able to have 10 cents worth of risk to get a 30-cent move. And if I see something along those lines, I'm just going to do it again in IBIT.
Tesla back downside here this morning after a big day yesterday, getting higher. Elon with some cautiously optimistic, I guess, comments regarding full self-driving. We kind of hinted at this yesterday. I was reading some comments and listening to a couple of podcasts on the weekend that were talking about this. FSD 12 is a complete revision of their full self-driving software in that they've taken the old one and thrown it out the window. And that was the one that was predictive. That was the way I was reading that it was described, in the sense that they were trying to code a solution for anything and everything that could appear in front of a car, or any possibility of an occurrence that could appear in front of a car. They've taken that and thrown it out the window, and they've gone to a more reactive type of solution where it's video in, and then the processing of whatever the reaction is going to be of gas or accelerator, brake, steering, what have you. So it seems like he's cautiously optimistic about this, but it's interesting from the standpoint that the old version, which everyone was using, right, even Waymo and some of the other companies that are looking at full self-driving, I mean, I guess they've gotten to a point where it's not going to work.
It sounds like inferencing here. I mean, like where it just looks at, perceives something, the AI translates it. We'll have to wait and see. We saw a lot of this with Apple shutting down their their car division, and a lot of the people that were working in that division got moved to AI. There's got to be overlap between the two. But to build on your point, Brendo, Elon Musk saying that there's going to be an update to the 12.3 about every 2 to 3 weeks going into late May, late April, early May. We'll have to see how this changes. We'll wait for the reviews to come out and see what people are saying.
Yeah, the comments that I was listening to on the weekend were incredibly positive, saying that it's night and day difference. Those circumstances and instances when a vehicle would get stuck behind an object or something on the road that it wasn't expecting to be there and really didn't know what to do. Didn't seem to be the case anymore. So a step in the right direction, it would appear.
Yeah, like it sounds fantastic, but I mean, we're here to trade price action. And the unfortunate thing for Tesla is it was so strong yesterday. You're getting caught up in this, like everything is pulling back moment. And that 172, which when we left in the afternoon and when we kind of got here early, and we were here early, we usually here before 7 o'clock at this time, but we were here earlier than that. Like Tesla looked like a stock that was holding up pretty nicely and might even give you support back at that 72 level. Now it's suddenly pre-market resistance at that price. The good news is it can break out through 172. It was strong yesterday. If there's a pullback happening in chips and they roll over, then you're going to want to look to some other places for some potential longs. So that 172 on Tesla, that's the big price. It's got to clear that at the open, and I think it can be all systems go, but if we never get above there, maybe 170, that's a big maybe. And then the really better levels are in the mid 160s. The good news for Tesla is it can get there. It can move that much. We've seen it happen. It literally did this yesterday off the same price level. But if it can regain that 72, then it's got some oomph into the 75 range for Tesla. This was already beaten up and starting to make a little bit of a bounce. So I do like that from the get-go on TSLA. It just never got to that 150. But it is trying to reverse that trend off 160.
All right. Look, you guys heard me talk before. I'm going to just talk almost in certainties when I talk about this. Is why I'm putting the sticky note out. These are not just for trade ideas. These are trades I'm going to take. So right down here, Tesla 170, I'm already bidding it. So if it comes back in, this is not like for me, it's not if we take 175. I like that breakout. I want to try this level. So if it comes down into 170, I like it. Yesterday's bottom was 166. I just, I feel like that's good news. I mean, I know the market's getting hit down here, and I know that Tesla's against the market, and this kind of flies in front of how I normally trade. But I don't know. There's something about this news with FSD today that I like. There's something about the way Tesla moved yesterday that I like. Someone called us out yesterday and said, why are we not talking about Tesla when it was up 6%? And you were right. I mean, there's that 175. Like, we talk about this. Like, even the most inexperienced trader can see this is the top. So, yeah, if it gets up there, we'll fade it probably. But let's try to go this long instead. Let's do a little counter trade there. If it does drop into this 166 and we lose that, then I think that's going to be a problem. So let's try a small position here, add to it in and around here, and then wait to see what happens at 166. I want to buy the dip here in Tesla, but look what happens every morning. We talk about this. Big violent moves, it seems like every single day in Tesla, right off the open, like up, the last day was down. I mean, another great aggressive move back up to the upside here. Again, even this day, this is the pre-market. Nice move up. Market opens and flush straight down. So, you've been getting a lot of bottoms early here on Tesla. So let's just see if we can get another one right now matching into 170. I'm bidding 170, and we're standing there willing to take those shares. So we're going to bid 170. If it drops into 166, that would be sort of the area where we stop. It's 9:18 already. So the imbalances, let's just have a quick look. We're fine for time. We have Vale here on a bid. Fisker, wow, Fisker's down to 14. I was like, oh, Fisker's got a bid. Maybe we're holding 15 again. But no, down through 14, some of those levels we saw yesterday. But look, today, again, a lot of sells on here. The bids are stocks that, again, Pfizer bid, whatever, FSR bid, irrelevant. But we have some bigger sells here. UiPath, Ford, obviously, Bank of America, Snapchat, Palantir. Like, there's names here, Barrick Gold, Disney. So, the market's downside. Even though we're starting to go up, I still like the short here in all of this. But for Tesla, because we're on that, I'm going to try the long. I'm already bidding 170 and 168. So let's see if it holds. If it doesn't, we take the L there. But like I said, we're having a great month doing these kind of stuff. So let's go. Luck of the Irish here today with Tesla.
All right, more EV action. XPeng next. I mean, the reaction here from these earnings not really that significant, but better than expected. Deliveries, anyways, here for XPeng earnings, kind of in line with expectations.
Yeah, interesting look here. I mean, they still lost money, right? They're not turning a profit, but they lost less than expected. Revenue grew a little bit here, 13.28 billion yuan expected versus the 13.05. But what stood out to me was the deliveries. They're only expecting to deliver 21,000 to 22,500 cars. The street was looking for 54,000, so we're not even at half here, and it's up. So a little bit boozling to me here, Brendo.
I was just trying to find. I can't say. I was just trying to find Tesla's number for that quarter, but yeah, that's a pretty impressive number. 60,158. That's a lot for
not bad
for XPeng.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, the volume's actually looking pretty solid on it, but that's a lot of dark pool printing. Like when I pull up the tape on this, like I still haven't even seen a print since I called up the stock. It's just not really doing a heck of a lot of movement on XPeng. And we had said $10 looked like it was going to be a good and sort of back and forth pivot spot just based on the way that it traded yesterday. Like you saw it kind of flush underneath, then turn into resistance when it got to 10, then it got right back up to 10 at the close and resisted it. It's probably going to have to break out or retest 950 for me to be excited about it. With Tesla moving today, I just feel like that's the name to go to. And when you check out NIO, this might see the $5 level again because it's been trending back in. That would be a key level to watch. I think that could come into play on any kind of a red day, and maybe you catch a bid off that $5 level. But Tesla's more important. And on the Chinese names, we already mentioned Alibaba as the one I think I'd rather trade. So XPeng, I'm going to sit it out because I don't like the amount of volume that it's doing pre-market. And it's not really breaking out, giving you some new prices. It's essentially just sitting in the same range it was yesterday. That said, NIO is flat bottom breaking. It is possible you could see that 5 bid if there's a few million shares down there, fair enough.
All right, so next strategy is to talk negative. So just so you guys know, so I'm going to give you guys a little heads up. What we're going to do next time is talk negatively about a stock that we want to go long on, not positively, because we just finished talking about Tesla and it bumped up like 60 cents. All right, so let's just go here. No, we're always going to talk the right way. All right, now, Baba, we really like this name. Oh, yeah, by the way, down there at 72. So we like 72. Go check the sticky note. I feel like negative sentiment has hit this name. Probably a little bit too much. A little bit of an investigation by the EU. We talked about this. I like Alibaba down here at 72, and I'm already bidding it. So again, these are trades that I'm taking. So we're bidding 72 on Alibaba. Let's see if it fills up or not. 72.15 down there for Alibaba. I just tweeted this out. The funniest thing is, so I get this from Benzinga. These are the top trending stocks on Wall Street bets. So if you want to go find this, go to @TraderTV Sean. Bears vs. Bulls can put this in there. AI, Nvidia, Tesla, SMCI, MSTR. I have no idea why corn is here. Like, this is a trust corn, like nothing to do with anything. So I think that's just a mistake. Apple, I know it's been there before, and then BTC. So anyways, as you can see, a lot of AI names and all related to maybe that Nvidia conference coming through today. So we'll see if we can, get a nice little price here on Alibaba if it does fade near 72. For me, it's a hell of a buy. I'm not looking at XPEVLI or NIO.
All right, let's go on to SMCI here. Big gap downside on this. 2 million share offering coming through for SMCI. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, now 4 days in a row after the inclusion on Friday into the S&P.
Yeah, Brendo, that's after raising $1.5 billion last month before their inclusion in the S&P. They're also giving Goldman Sachs the right to purchase up to 300,000 shares. It's a 30-day option after the addition into the S&P. So we'll have to see if Goldman takes them up on their offer. But they're also looking to launch a couple of new products here, Brendo. So let's see if the market likes what they see.
Yeah, definitely a sell the news event so far, guys, for SMCI.
SMCI.
Well, if you have runs like that, I mean, taking advantage of it to raise capital, that's what companies are going to do. Certainly, we've seen this before with additions to the exchange, to the S&P 500 particularly, where you get a bit of a sell the news event. And this stock could easily see 800 to 250 period moving average, not till 750 on SMCI. As far as the trade goes, obviously NVIDIA is a name, AMD, Intel. Those are names with much tighter spreads that are more reasonable to trade. SMCI at key levels is going to have a better spread. I don't think you're seeing 1,000 today, but if there is a bounce up, I mean, the market's bouncing and this isn't even going. So I don't even, like, you might get a short pop at AMD because it's halfway to where we want to go short. This thing hasn't even budged off the lows as the market has just regained about 40 or 50 points. So I don't know if the 950 is going to come into play. Might just have to be other places. If I'm looking for shorts, hitting this, you have to play off the 900 level. I'd much rather get a relief on a pullback that we can sink our teeth into. And I'm already on the offer of Intel because this has been stair-stepping into the downside. It's been pretty clean. It had one resistance level for 3 days. Now I look at that same support to turn the resistance at 42.5 to 42.60. So that's a pretty clean area to work off of. Even if it breaks that and gets to 43 to 43.20, like that's another short area for that name. So I do like Intel and AMD a little bit better than SMCI. But if all you know what is breaking loose, there's always even dollar breaks there. It's just not like Nvidia. Nvidia, you can take a breakout and give it $1 or $2, and it'll actually work. On SMCI, you're probably giving it $10. And they're similarly priced names. So you guys got to pick your poison.
All right. Apple. So we wrote down here on our sticky note that a name that we really liked was going to be Apple. And I mean, I really like this name into 174. That should say 170. We talked about 175 down there. It was at 174. You do get a nice little pop through there. So I'm waiting. I am at 174.80. And we didn't get filled there. So we'll wait to see if we get filled, but it's on the sticky note. I like Apple for the short again here today. I'm bearish to start the day, although we have bids out on some of those names. I just think Apple into yesterday's close. Let's just see if it holds it. So 175. And I feel like you want to get out of this if we take that high, 175.50, 175.60. So that's a level there that if there's any problems with Apple, we'll get out and take the L early on this name. I mean, again, pretty crazy there in the pre-market yesterday, but then once it got going, it really ran. So I don't know. You know, Apple's up today. Market's starting to move up. I want to fade this name. I'm going kind of like counter what I normally do. Normally I trade short names that are below the market and long names that are above. And right now today I actually like Apple strength to fade it. So we'll see about this 175.50 area. First position short, 175. So I've actually moved it now that I saw this was the high, right up to 90. So if we can get short into yesterday's closing print, we'll do that. Nice move down there on the no close for Nvidia, but now we'll wait to see what happens here at 175 for Apple. We like the sell side there. No bearish catalysts for a red market today.
No.
I don't know. You know what? There isn't too many catalysts out there. That is true.
The argument,
other than Nvidia, but Nvidia's not even really down that much.
It's
only
not
down
that
2%,
much.
and the thing about it is Nvidia's been red more often than not the last 2 weeks. So
I would say, okay, so you've got Nvidia, the conference, the reception to it at least is negative. You've got SMCI that has the offering, and then that's also a sympathy play to the downside. Then you have a bit of a, let's call it a pullback on BTC. Now we understand that Bitcoin and risk assets have been sometimes moving together. You get a gap down there. So it's probably more technical than anything else. Like, you're not talking about necessarily big, massive news events. Throw in the fact we got, the Fed tomorrow. We're going to get the dot plot. So maybe you're getting a little bit of risk off in front of Jerome. I mean, you can come up with explanations all day long for these things, and ultimately a price is the only thing that's going to matter. So you got to stick to your guns when it comes to price. There was, what have we not, Meta, we didn't talk about Meta. Okay, Meta, I guess we want 480 after all. So Meta was super strong yesterday, much like Tesla, super strong yesterday. With only 2 minutes to go, it bottomed down like at 481, but I'm having a look-see at this 486 as well. So we have yesterday's bottom 486 and then 481, which was 2 days ago the low. We're right back there, and we could be making a bit of a bounce play. I like Meta for strength in the afternoon and just never got the dip buy. It was just only breakouts on this stock on the way to the upside. So with the market back in a little bit, Meta must have had an imbalance there because it just dropped $3. I'm going to double check. Did it?
we have maybe, yeah. We had Tesla right there written down as a 170 long on the sticky note, and then we went to talk about it, and now it's up $2. From basically when we started talking about it, I was like, maybe we'll get 170 in the pre-market. Yeah, right. Now you're up $2 from where we talked about it. So 9:29 and just a minute left before this market opens up. We'll have Benzinga in our ear. We got Brendan, we got Sharif, we got Adair, we got Neil. We're ready to rock.
There was no sell and bounce on Meta.
No, okay, shout out to, all right, so yeah, just a nice downside move there for Meta. Shout out to Fabian and Ramin as well. All right, so here we go, man, only 30 seconds to go. Maybe Microsoft, I just heard about maybe a little bit strong today. I really like Microsoft, all-time highs approaching, and we've already made them, so that was a couple of days ago. And like I said, we've been talking about weak tech names for a minute, so this is nothing here is a surprise to me. All right, we'll see if we get Apple off the jump here, if it does rip up. We wanted short. Unfortunately, all these stocks have gone up
Short
and
the
down
pops.
against us.
Like Ray said back when I was a trainee, I'll never forget him, fun guy. Short the pops in a down market. Today we have a bit of one. Let's ring it in 2 and 1, Adara. And off to the races we go. Let's see where we're headed. I mean, yeah, already Meta's bouncing off of that bottom.
AMD's tanking, of course.
Already, like it's, yeah, there was no imbalance there. That was probably worth it. I assumed there was an imbalance and wasn't looking to buy. You're already getting a move down in some of these chip names. Intel goes straight to the downside right away at the open. Palantir looks like it's actually bouncing off 2340. Wow, that didn't take long. Look at Palantir off that 2340 level. Already 20 cents higher, 1% up on Palantir. AMD's going down. Nvidia's not doing a heck of a lot at the open. And Coinbase is chilling out at 2.25. Load up, there you go. Chilling out at 2.25. So it tried to break the bottom. I still favor the downside there on Coin if I can.
I mean, everything we said is happening.
Just it's going right away.
I mean, Apple, well, yeah, everything's just going in opposite ways. Like, we wanted the Apple short. It's banging out, man. It's amazing short right now, Apple, and we just missed that too. So we'll have to figure that out right now. JWN is trying to go private. That's Nordstrom's right now. They're halted on an upside move for Nordstrom's.
Oh, wow.
Big time movement there. Halted on a go private talk. We are short Apple right now. We're looking for a lot more than this, man. We want to get a lot more short on Apple right now, but there it goes. Nice downside move. We'll take something at 50 just to ring some registers if we're able to on this downside move right now happening. Let's go over to Nvidia quickly just to see what that's doing. And yeah, there's the fade on Nvidia. Watch out for this bottom of 858. Nordstrom now halted, looking for a buyer. Here comes Tesla coming in as well. So we'll wait to see if we can buy some Tesla into some of these levels. 170 and change coming in immediately as the NASDAQ dumps out right now. And we got one on Apple.
Yeah, the market is definitely heading southbound. AMD doesn't want any piece of that 187 level, at least currently. But look at the wick. That's real. It wicked 181, is now coming back up. If it can't break this opening range top of 184, that's a curl. But I think you got to wait for it. Look, that's a big, big reversal candle. We've seen AMD do this before, where it gets really, really nasty on that initial move into the upside. So we try to be patient with it. I feel like we might not have to be as patient with Intel because it's broken the bottom and is hanging out under. So forget about that top up there. I'm shorting back into the pre-market bottoms. Relatively weak is what it's showing me. Palantir is still just chilling out. It has not broken that bottom from yesterday, but it's chilling out right underneath the lows. If it takes out yesterday's, that's the bottom I want the break of, 23.30. It's at 23.44. So again, got to be a little bit patient with it. Coinbase, still in the pocket at 225. If you're shorting 30s, 25 is not necessarily the way to go just yet. What about Mara?
I mean, we're just doing what we do right now. It's a 25-cent winner right now on Apple. So there it is. There's the out on Apple right there. 40 cents in the money. The chef is cooking one more time. So there it is, man. Nice move for Apple. What else are we supposed to do? And then we're waiting right now for Tesla. We did take a small bid here just because of it faded back in. I'm not really convinced yet that we need to get super long here on Tesla. We're still waiting for that 170. Good trade there so far on Apple. We'll run that schedule now 1 for 1 and then wait to see what happens right now with the rest of them. But so far, so good, I would say here. So we'll wait and see what's going on. Apple with a nice downside push. That is now 50 cents in the money. What's up, Adara?
Just be aware of Nordstrom. JWM halted right off the open here. Reports from Reuters that they're working with Morgan Stanley and Centerview to go private. So the family is trying to go private, according to Reuters. Keep an eye on JWN with that in mind, guys.
We talked about that
Careful,
one.
some sympathy plays there. Like, not to say that it has to happen, but keep an eye on some of the other retailers. Like Macy's had on no volume. Macy's just popped and did that. Like literally no volume. Like, I think you got to be careful. I would not be touching any of those. They'll probably need to settle down during that halt. But I'm into Intel as it got back into that pre-market low range, 42.25. It's working right back into 42 as we speak. So I'm going to make sure we get some bids down into that even dollar level. AMD is still pushing higher. It's not at 87 yet, but it just tagged 185.5. So it's starting to get up there. We are looking for the fade on AMD. What's Nvidia doing? Oh, that's a bad. Looks like the high 875 is the high on Nvidia, so it hasn't come anywhere near that 890. That's a dark pool wick up there, 900, within $15 only of that level. So we still got to be a bit patient when it comes to AMD.
Yeah, I wanted to short AMD, so we're going to short it right now, but there it goes up through 184 and change. We're short at 184.70, so let's go. Let's just start ringing the register, and there it is again. So we just took some out there at 50s. We'll see how low we can go here on AMD, as it's really pretty wild as we go, but there it is right now. It's another 70-cent winner for AMD. There it is, man. Take the short off that level, ring the damn registers. Nice downside move here. We'll see if we get an 84 bid flat, and then that's it, man. After that, we'll wait to see if it goes to the downside. There's AMD. We're short at 185. It's printing 184s. Can we get an early dollar club with only a couple minutes to go here? And there it is. We just pushed that one, and we'll go bang on that as we'll go 3 for 3 right now, guys. We're 40 cents in the money on Apple. We are a clean dollar right now. There's your dollar club on AMD. So we take a little bit of a different approach there. We don't wait for it. We get aggressive. As we said, we're doing what's been working for us this month, man. It's been getting super aggressive, taking prices that we say we're going to take, and then just bank the you-know-what out of them. Look at this right now. It's another dollar club right here. Let's put it on again for Tesla. There's another dollar for Tesla. So far, guys, dollar for Tesla, $2 for AMD, and 50 cents for Apple. It's a 3 for 3 type of day for us over here. But hey, it's a day that ends in Y. What's up, Adara?
Yeah, just be aware here, Etsy popping up almost 8% on strong volume. Not seeing any news on this, and not much discussion on social media either. They do have a short float of over 13%. So be aware of this big move up on ETSY, guys.
All right.
And not that interesting. I mean, Etsy, usually spreads are pretty nasty on that stock, especially at the open, at least the last time I looked at it. Going to get you guys over to Snowflake here. We talked about Palantir potentially breaking down. It has not yet, but the day is still early. Snowflake is now at 152. It bounced off 150. Load. Bounced off 151. That 150 is a key price level. If it can hold on to that, I think it's got a bit of a chance. But I'd rather be fading some of those names. I'm in one stock. Again, I like 187 on AMD, not going to lie. It's great at 185. I think that's a great trade. But I can't short 184 with a 187 stop. It would need, because that's the thing, you need like $5 to risk 3.5. So it's a bit of a different plan of action. Intel did set up for me underneath the pre-market low, so we grabbed the 20s. It's already at 42, as that's working downside. Palantir is still, like it's just now, like it did another wake up at the top, and it's just now testing yesterday's low, 23.30. Taking the breakdown of 23.30, it's at 33. So that's a stop order. It'll trigger once this thing breaks $23.30. I'm sure Palantir going to give it back into its pre-market low. Down 2.75 change. There is yesterday's bottom. Once it breaks, I'm looking for that entry to the downside. Nvidia, if you're checking in on Nvidia, I think it's almost like it's not necessarily the one today. It hasn't broken its pre-market range yet on Nvidia, but I still like an 850 short. If it gets down there, I'm shorting that top or that bottom. Adara?
SC Works, WORX. This is a small cap runner this morning. No news on this one, but we do have a float of just over 1 million shares. So pretty small float here. Lots of discussion for this one on social media. WORX.
The works.
I mean, let's just do this. I mean, it's the same thing every day, so it doesn't really matter. But right now we'll have AMD is now $3 in the money. And again, you guys want to talk about looking for trading resources. How about FREE right now? It has been free since we started, and it's right there. It's AMD. It's your number one name, and it's a short sell. So obviously we're taking it. We talked about that. There's the short sell and there's the banger. It's AMD and it's a monster. So there it is, man. $3 in the money for that. It's $1 in the money for Tesla as we go. And guys, this short is out at 172. So, or sorry, this is Tesla. This AMD short is out right here. If we go any higher than where we were right there, 185.65. So to be out $1 to make 3, we'll take that, and we are almost out right now as we just take that bottom take. Let's just let this thing fall. As Tesla goes back up to the upside, there it is again, another one. So all 3 of our trades that we put on 3 trades today. AMD's $3, Tesla's $1, and Apple's trying to get to $1. And Apple's at its lowest spot we've been at all day. And unfortunately, we missed this 74.80. We were sitting at 74.80. We changed it to 90 in the pre-market. We should not have done that. Here goes another banger. It's a trophy day, but it's early. Let's wait to see what happens here for that one. And look, man, it's going to be a little bit of a tough day today, right? There's no doubt about that. But if you're long, got to be long the right names. I mean, think about the market that's absolutely collapsing here, like we had mentioned would probably happen, and we just took $1 on Tesla long. So that's the kind of day that we're having. Let's see what happens here with Apple, and let's just keep on watching out for our own trades, man. I mean, this is what we're doing. Like I said, we're really working it this month. It's been a huge month, and we'll just wait to see what happens here moving forward. Tesla trying to find its way. AMD now almost $4 in the money on trade idea number 1.
Yeah, Palantir broke that bottom, by the way. 23.30 when we got 29s, 1 cent worth of slippage. Stop orders are good. We got some out there at 19s. If you're going short here with a stop there, that's about 12 cents worth of risk. Once it breaks 20s, that's 1-to-1. We'll get some out in front of 23. I think there's room to 22 and a quarter, 3/4 on the daily chart. That's right in here, support for Palantir. This is, in the grand scheme of things, not a huge move for Palantir down, but the flat bottom break, we're going to like it almost every single time. Coinbase, I think you can, I don't want to say never, but I don't think it's going to be at 30s short on Coinbase, suffice to say. It's breaking 220. It's breaking lows of the day. You're more or less going to have to work into something on a pop. I do like the name to the short side. Maybe we get something in the quarters to 30 range, and we can find a curl to work off of, but we're not going to get the price that we want on that one. SoFi apparently making a free fall, but a lot of things are falling right now, including Meta into 480. So we like the 480 level. Patience is a virtue. Sorry, 481, I should say. That is this low from the 15th. That's on Friday. So if we get down there looking for the bounce on Meta, I'm on the bid out in front of 481. And there wasn't a sell imbalance. Meta just cratered through the 490 level and is now down $8, down 3%. This was not looking like a Meta type of day. And then all of a sudden we saw that drop before the open. So I'm looking at that 481. I have my bid out there at the quarter level in front of it. We're going to be patient. This is falling like a rock. We got to wait for our price.
Man, I'm actually really glad that we weren't patient at all with AMD, man. I mean, the minute we saw that name start to make that move up, and I got to thank Neil for that, man. He was like, I had it up too. I was watching Tesla. But yeah, it was like AMD's going up. I'm like, perfect. Let's short this thing. We got a great short up there at 185, now $4 in the money. And we're just going to try to sit here and figure that out. I do want to look at Meta though, because we're talking about it. 482 for Meta. We talked about all of these names. Shout out to Kyle Burdett. Shout out to everybody in the chat that's been raising cash with me. It's a nice move to the downside here. And to say that some of this stuff wasn't expected would be completely wrong. We've been talking about fading some of these levels. And I was just talking about how bad some of these names have been. You know, like AMD was at 215. Now you're at 180. We're $4 in the money on this one. Let's see what happens with Tesla. Tesla's coming back in a little bit now. Remember, we don't want to give, okay, where's my bid down here at 170? Okay, we should have had a bid down there. I don't know. That must have got canceled. Darn it. Okay, now we're longer down here. This is what we wanted. We wanted a 170 bid. With this market absolutely falling down, I was going to wait for 168 or so to deal with this, but you know what? I mean, we're having such a good day here so far. Let's not let this fall down completely. So I guess a little bit lower than 170. Let's just try 169.50 as a new out here for Tesla. $5 almost now in the money on this bad boy. It's AMD, and it's an absolute rocket right now. What's up, Neil?
No, one of my level 2s crashed. I was just going to tell you to.
Okay, okay, sorry. Let's go over to Adara.
Spire Global already up 50% on the day on an NVIDIA-related headline here. As of yesterday, it was announced that they were going to be enhancing their AI-driven weather prediction in collaboration with NVDA. So nice push to the upside for SPIR, guys.
They're going to happen. One is NVIDIA is going to break 850 to the downside.
Booyaka.
So that, oh, never mind. Okay. It just bounced off 850. The second thing was going to be Meta was about to hit 481. Every single time I'm looking at a breakout trade, you guys know what happens. The second I get geared up that it's going to happen at that moment, it's going to bounce off that level. So just every time I start getting obsessed with a breakout level, that is probably an initial reverse spot. Meta is still, it's holding out 482. If it bounces off this low right here, 481.80 again, I might take the long back through 482 instead of waiting for 481. It looks like it's getting a little bit top heavy. All right, now NVIDIA's at 855, so I don't have to worry about that break. Palantir is still working. Now it just broke 23s. I want to get something up. Palantir has a way of doing big reverses off of even dollar levels. So when it breaks 23, I'm taking some out there at 95 and then waiting for the next play. So Palantir flat bottom break. That's what it looks like. There's support, 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 gone. And then 2270 would be the next level down. Intel is also working into the downside. As that just got to 42 even, I think 4160 is a reasonable spot. What about, I mean, NVIDIA, $5 bounce. So if you were looking long off 850, congratulations. I just had my order for it to break that level. No break yet.
Yeah, we wrote down 850 on NVIDIA as a possible spot there, but we didn't take it either. We were just trying to wait to see what was going to happen here with AMD, but we had talked about that earlier to see. All right, so here comes Tesla. So this could be the L right now. We're waiting. We were going to wait for 169.50, but here we go, man. We are going to get out if this breaks 169. Our average price is 170. We averaged in, so we do have a position here. If it breaks, we're out, and then we'll just regroup on that one. So it does look like the market, yeah. We talked about it going down 1.5%. Remember, I was like, do we really want to go in stock against the trade? But Tesla's been working for us. We're just here at 170, so let's wait to see if it does make that move back up. Let's take out 10% at 90s because we just almost lost there at 169. Here it comes. This looks like it's going to flush. Tesla just tried to get going there, did not find buyers at the top, and then an instant flush back down. So here we go, there we go. I don't even know if we lost 169 there, but we got punched out. So there we go, down, out at 169. We got out at 169.02, so I guess it didn't break, but maybe it did. There's a downside move, so we'll have to hit fail on that one. We're not just gonna be like, yo, we're in the money $1, but we didn't lose $1, but we just lost $1. So right there, we will lose that on Tesla. We're still 5 in the money, obviously, here on AMD, and we're up more than double on AMD what we lost on Tesla. So you guys always want to know about risk management and things like that. So there's a pretty good indicator right there. So far, so good here, but the market is falling, and it's still early. So I don't want to get too carried away with some of these names here. Too early. But here we go into 168 for Tesla, down 3 now.
Yeah, NVIDIA is now down 3.5% and bouncing off of 850 one more time. The low is actually 850 and 10 cents. So if you're taking that long, like it's giving you a couple of scalp plays, there's a bounce one more time on NVIDIA. I think it's just, it's almost like it's a matter of time. The third test might be the last one. As far as Meta goes, it didn't really, this is what happens sometimes. I'll slap the fail on myself. Anybody get that Meta long? The low of the day is, I was at the quarter mark, that was within pennies, and it's already bounced $3. So sometimes it'd be like that. You joke around about not putting obvious orders, but I actually put my order at 25. And I think it bounced off 26, 27 there. That's going to happen. You want relative strength? Amazon just went green. Amazon just went positive into, you guys all see what's happening with the NASDAQ as it just tested the low. So Amazon, VWAP, 174.20. This is what time of the day. If I'm not in things, or if I am in a bunch of the stocks, I'm looking for something new, it's got to be something showing relative strength or weakness. This is relative strength, and that means I would like to take the stairs up with it. If the market bounces off 18,000 or from 18,000 on the NASDAQ, I feel like something going green is the place to go. VWAP's at 174.20. I'm buying that dip.
All right. So we are AMD, for example. We're going to bid 180. I mean, hopefully it comes in and we'll be able to take that. The market seems to be bouncing back to the upside right now, so we'll see if it can hold. But here goes AMD. It looks like it's still okay. But yeah, that 180 definitely coming into play with, I mean, I wasn't even looking at Nvidia, which we always should be. But right there, Nvidia down to 850 and a sweet bounce. You're not doing anything on this until we get to, like, in my opinion, 860, 865-ish area where we have VWAP and the 50-period moving average. So that's something that we're looking at right there. Again, for that one, Apple, okay, looks like we're going to get out of AMD right now. So, ooh, no, we do not. Wow, that's crazy. We just went to 34. We're bidding 25s down there. All right, so we do have some more positions here. Again, just trying to see if this wants to go. It doesn't look like it wants to. We're long here at 50 on Tesla. This will be a 50-cent hit, so this will be it. Remember we talked about trying to buy 168s? Now we'll have to wait for 166s. Because this is going to break 168. Tesla just keeps getting hammered. I don't know why. Remember we thought that we thought this would be a long, but no, it's definitely not a long today, as you're down probably the most out of any name. But we've seen, the reason why I'm trying to hold out hope is we've seen this before on Tesla. I mean, just look at yesterday. You know, and we could get stopped out. But yesterday, there's the bottom in and around now, 950. So yeah. Not every day is going to be the same. I mean, in fact, they're never the same. So will it hold or will it not? We're here to take a shot here with Tesla a little bit lower. There it goes. Then 168 and we'll get out. So wow, okay, Tesla didn't hold. So we'll go 1 for 3.
If that's going down, I want Rivian shorts.
What, the Rivian shorts?
It's just a matter of where. And I say this every single time Tesla's making a move to the downside. Like, why not be short the name that's not as good? And it's breaking $11. Now, the problem is setup. So it needs to, like, I'm working off of 11.10 because that's afternoon support and afternoon resistance. So it's actually not bad here at the 11. Even you're risking 10 to 15 cents worth of risk. I was about to say slippage as if I'm already in position. So I'm going to get on the 11 offer, see if we can't get it. Meta just screamed back to the upside. Old man hand sometimes. So the trend was downside. You know, it's got the VWAP right here. That's 485.5. Super weak name at this point. So 486 looks like a reasonable stop. Like if you miss a dip buy on something, all you can do is move on to the next trade, and it might not necessarily be a long. Let's be real. Like the long to me was off of that support at 481. It's already bounced $4 from there, $4.50. So I think the next play is a play off of VWAP, which would be to me a short. So I'm in Rivian, giving it to 11.10, and I'm looking for the VWAP retracement. Just want to see a bit of a curl here on Meta, and then we're going to get in. The trend was down here, didn't see anything. It wasn't like it was in imbalance. It just tanked a couple minutes before the open, and then tanked further. So if we're having a red day, Meta is the opposite of what it was yesterday.
Looks like we're starting to climb back, which is pretty good. So again, we're going to look for some shorts. We're going to try to get into more Apple here as it just comes right back up to the upside for that one. We are short Amazon against that high there. I don't know. We're at 14 cents. We just came back into that level. So we're short here at 92 on Amazon. Let's just see if it gets higher. We'll take another short up. There it is. So now, and then we can stop now. If this name keeps on going, then we'll get out of Amazon. But it looks like it may want to do that, as we talked about relative strength and weakness, as Neil mentioned that. And that's what put me over to this. It's a nice push back to the upside. We're short at 175 now. Good price. We'll give it about 30 cents. We do see we can fall back into 70s here or so. So we'll wait on that. Needs to happen though. Apple, again, 175. I mean, we talked about that being a possible short. We could go into short now again on this. Let's wait for a little bit higher. We are at 174.30, so that's almost going to fill us in. And then we'll wait for 174.80 and then play that level up to 175. So let's short a little bit more here on Apple, as we just got missed up there at 174.30. So let's take something here at 20, which we just did. And we'll see about Amazon, AMD, and Apple. We're flipping over to the shorts, guys.
Yeah, let me cancel my VWAP bid on Amazon. Softy just took out the high. Shout out to you with Mr. William Addison there. Appreciate the super chat. Marvell puts off 65.36. Golden and boom, the Nvidia effect. Obviously, I'm going to assume that with all of the chips red. Marvell probably is as well. I haven't traded that one in a hot minute. Over on the NASDAQ, yeah, down $4. So congratulations there. Obviously going to be a good look, but the market is trying to bounce. We're at 18.1. Now Meta got to VWAP. I'll quickly show you. I had a stop for him before and actually got in and out at the same price, but now there's the wick off the 486 level. That's kind of what I'm looking for, like the wick under 486. So now you're back underneath VWAP, and I have a high to work off of. So 486, it's about change. Like I think it's like 13 or something is the high. So I'll give it to like the quarter. So I'm short into VWAP here in Meta. If it breaks it out, I get out. You got to respect the relative strength in the market off of that low. But yeah, I missed the boat on Amazon, and I've missed the boat potentially on Softy. Just broke out some highs as well. So Microsoft could be breaking 420, which was yesterday's tops. It's not there yet. It's only at $419. But like if Softy breaks out yesterday's high, that's going to catch a lot of people off guard. The way the market started out today. So I do think this is worth jumping into if we can find a long. But I'm short Meta, short Rivian, short Palantir, short Intel. At this moment, we are short everything. I mean, I was trying to figure something else to say, but I'm only short. I would like to buy a dip if I can off VWAP and some of the stronger stocks, but that requires them actually giving us some relief in a pullback.
Yeah, we're short everything as well, and we're waiting for AMD. So AMD is going to be the biggest trade here for me. In the money now, 450. Let's see if we get a bid down here. We're bidding 180.25. Looks like we can get that. What is happening with Nvidia right now as well? We are short Apple. That's going to be starting to tank the downside as well. So here we go, man. Let's just see if we can get that AMD. It keeps bouncing off 180.50. Thinking about just putting it there instead of 180.25, but let's see some downside push. Here goes Amazon. Come on, man. Break through and see if we can get a bid down below 175. What's up, A?
Yeah, on the topic of Nvidia, just be aware Jensen Huang, CEO, is set to speak on CNBC expeditiously, so keep an eye on Nvidia with regards to that pending comments from Jensen Huang there, guys.
Oh, he's on with Kramer. That's right.
All right, so he'll only talk good things then. All right, so let's go. Let's up this a little bit here and see if we can get out at 180.70, man. Let's just put that $4 in our pocket now on AMD and get it over with, especially if this guy's going to be opening his mouth. We don't necessarily need to be here for that. So 180.25 right now. And there it is. Spin the damn money. That's your trade of the day, man, no matter what. We had written down here short for AMD. We just get that fill right there. It's a $4 and change winner. $4.13 winner there on AMD. So good trade there. We just need to wait for everything else to formulate. We did bounce off 18,000, so we didn't even get really that close. We got to 18,050. Nice aggressive move to the upside. Great cover. Thank you, ADRs, for that note. It made us up our bid for AMD. So we just put the bid there. We were at 180.25. There's the fill right there at 180.70, I think it was. And there it is, man. Nice move back up. Yes, sir. That was a good one. Thank you, Miss A, for that. As we get out of that, and now we'll wait to see if Apple wants to make a move higher, and then we'll be able to short that into 175 now as well. Look, if the market takes VWAP, then we're just going to get out of everything. But so far, so good here today. Let's wait to see if Amazon wants to make new if it wants to make new highs, we'll be stopped out. So that's really the trade for us right now. We did take some out at 75. I mean, that was only for 5 cents. Obviously, we don't want to take that. That's only 10%. We're waiting at 95s. Hopefully, we can get that for the dime. And then if we fall back in, we don't really have any more bids. So we have a 95 and an 85, and then we'll wait to see what happens after that. But Amazon, relatively strong in holding highs.
Yeah, and I've got an adjustment to make. I've moved the trailing stop on Intel here. It's now triple bottomed. Well, yeah, triple bottomed off 41.75 on a 3-minute chart, just so you can see it there. We had it short off of the pre-market low there as it bounced back up. We liked it to the south side, but it never gave you a pop, so we had to set something else up. If it gets to VWAP, maybe worth a reload. But if it breaks 86s, I'm just going to jump out of it here. We got 42.18s in, so it's going to make some sense to take profit. Palantir, remember what I said about Palantir and even dollar levels? It wicked the 23. It's back into VWAP. So we got that flat bottom break. It's making some lower highs in here.
Ooh,
I thought we'd break VWAP. I actually thought we'd break VWAP on that move up, and we've already reversed. So I might have missed a chance at a reload on Palantir. Rivian, we haven't taken anything out of it just yet. Meta, wherefore art thou? Meta, it's at 485 still. Oh, and what? Nvidia's at 54 again?
Yeah,
I got to put my order back. I can't. When it got to 865, I canceled my 850 break to the downside on Meta because I'm like, not Meta, on Nvidia, because it's like $15 away from the price. Now it's right back tracking toward 850. So like I always do, I'm going to put my order back in. I still want the 850 breakdown. So when 850 goes, if 850 breaks, I should say, then I am going short on Nvidia. So just going to get my order back in there. The thing that's not working is Rivian. What's happening on Tesla? I don't have that up right now.
Tesla's bouncing off that 168. Yeah. We called that 168.
This might, I don't know. I feel like I got into this mostly because Tesla was tanking and you're giving me the 11 back into VWAP, which I like the risk to reward on that trade with Rivian. But then Rivian wasn't part of the plan this morning. Look, I like the room to the bottom. Actually, it actually looks fine as a flat bottom break, but I probably should have waited for the curl instead of just jumping the 11 short like we did. So if it breaks VWAP, I get out of that trade. I think that's pretty simple. Hopefully, I don't want to say hopefully Nvidia breaks 850, but that's the trade that I was kind of looking for next. And if it doesn't go, it'll be disappointing because you could have just been going long off this level.
Yeah, that's the problem. All right, so there's AMD. It is starting to go a little bit lower. Apple's just hanging out. We did take some more here at 50. It's Amazon that's going to be one of the problems now because it's just going higher. We did take another reload there. We'll see if we can get something out in the O's again, and then maybe we'll see about a 175 print. But there's a little bit of a higher take, giving us a better average price now down to 10. So we just take an Amazon there at 175.20. Realistically, I wish that was our average price, but without that crystal ball, we cannot predict said average prices and where we're going to be. All we can do is manage the trade. And Adara, no thank you anymore to Adara because she brought that news and I got out immediately and now AMD goes down. So of course we kid, but there goes AMD now breaking 180. I'll throw it to you. We did have that short for sure on advanced micro devices. We gave it up and we're fine with doing that. I mean, with Jensen on the ones and twos there, we don't know what's going to happen. So again, a nice move for now. And what do you want to do?
Just a couple of things. One, I'll take the L as through VWAP and breaking highs is Meta. So I missed the trade. We like the dip buy. We didn't get it, but it's breaking this consolidation on Meta. But also Nordstrom's is open back up and flying. It opened up. It broke $19. It's headed to $19.50. So maybe they get a deal, maybe they don't. We'll see what happens. It's up 13%. Nordstrom's trying to take out some local highs. 19 also happens to be the 50 pre-moving average. Let's go to Adara for happening now.
Futures slightly down on the day here. A lot of things to keep an eye on, including the Nvidia GTC conference this week. Jensen Huang, CEO of Nvidia, speaking on CNBC, so definitely keep an eye on that and all those chip names. A lot of Bitcoin-related names very much to the downside here as well, amidst a steep drop in the cryptocurrency. Ethereum also seeing some moves down. So market in a little bit of a state ahead of the FOMC meeting tomorrow. So absolutely keep an eye on that. In terms of individual names moving, SMCI, Supermicro Computer, very much to the downside here, down at 12% and counting after filing for a stock shelf offering of up to 2 million shares. So big move down there for SMCI. We also have XPeng initially trading higher, now down about 4% is XPEV after its earnings. Really nice delivery numbers, but a bit more of a mixed sentiment with regards to the actual earnings numbers themselves. Last but not least, Neil just mentioned this one as well. Nordstrom, JWN. This one has about a 10% short float, so keep that in mind with regards to this name. Reuters reporting that the company is attempting to go private with Morgan Stanley and Centerview. So big move up here for JWN.
Strong.
Good note there.
So if we're not getting Coinbase 233. However, we might get a chance at VWAP in here again. It's actually bounced once, got to 223. I thought we'd get something in the quarter range. Clearly, you can see that hasn't happened. So I'm just going to look at VWAP and try to grab something in that low 223 range if we can even get it. I keep looking up at Nvidia to see if it's back. It's at 58 again. So we're not getting that trade. Intel, it's still holding the bottom of the channel. That's good. That's fine. But Palantir is setting up that it wants, here's VWAP, there's the wick. So here's the reload on Palantir. So the market is showing obviously some resilience here, now above that 18.1 level temporarily. But we're getting the setup we wanted on Palantir. So we're going to grab it. Rivian just came out, so clearly that just went up. We like Rivian, but I said if it broke VWAP, I'm just going to get out of the trade. It broke VWAP, we got out. Reactionary to Tesla a little bit, so I'm not happy. The setup looked fine, but it wasn't part of the original plan. Now it trailed out of Intel at that bottom, so it broke this channel. VWAP is really low here because it tanked. I would look something above the 42 level if we're going to jump back into that trade. So down 2%, still like that one, only to the south side. Clearly relatively weak. I mean, the market's bouncing nicely. This is barely bouncing at all.
Yeah, we're having some problems here with some stocks not bouncing either. All right, so we'll wait. We are short Apple, and again, we talked about where we wanted to get out of this. I just got to make sure here. Are we on Apple? There it is. So our average price is now 70. Little bit of a, we talked about this was a little bit of a weird day, I feel like, but okay. So here we go, Apple. I was gonna get out. We talked about this again on the sticky note. We like that 175. We talked about that's 175.60. The way this is moving around, I feel like yesterday's afternoon high, where that 200 period might be something there. So 175.20 or so as a possible out for Apple. So let's just set that up right now. 175. You know, a little bit of a break. Oh, I'm doing it on another screen. Or I'll do it for you guys so you can see. All right, 175, like, you know, 25, something like that. And then we'll get out. Oops, that didn't work. There it is, 175.25. And I just want to get out of like 75% of it because we don't want to hold this. If we're wrong, we're going to be wrong on it. So let's wait. Apple, I mean, we're not too bad right now. We're short at 70. It's a decent trade. We've given back our AMD trade a little bit here as we go all the way back up here into 181. I didn't even realize this as I was trading Apple right now. Nice move up. We're going to short this into 181. Wow. I mean, it just broke 180.
Nvidia just broke a flat top.
Yeah, we said, okay, it broke upside. Okay, so here we go, man. It's a nice little 181 breaker, it looks like here on AMD. And just be careful with it because we mentioned, thank you, Mr. Rob, we did mention that Jensen was on. And we didn't necessarily, that's why we got out of our AMD in the first place. So I'm not really sure why I reshorted this. Oh yeah, I know why. Because it broke 180. So the minute it broke 180, we started to get a little bit excited there, and then we put that trade on. So, all right, we're short at 50s here on AMD. Let's see if we fade out a little bit. We could always do that, man. This is a very, very violent game today, that's for sure. Here comes a little bit of a pushback in. We did not get a bid there. We were bidding 50s. We're short at 50. So we have that trade hopefully to go, and then we have Apple making a move back in as well. So we'll take out a little bit as we dance around here, but so far so good on some of these shorts, but we're high. I mean, if we break this VWAP, I mean, we already have our targets to get out. So get ready right now. AMD's starting to really go higher here. 181.20 out for AMD. It's going. We've got to watch NVIDIA, man. NVIDIA, like Neil mentioned.
NVIDIA is starting to really,
yeah,
oh my goodness.
Damn it.
There was a flat top break at 861, and it's already happened. So the next available is like an 865 or a dip into 861. So 865, this is it gets insane. All you had to do was take.
All right, well, the market's going.
All you had to do was take that 850 bottom. There's no question about it. But it is what it is. You know, I was looking for the short breaking that level, and you know, Nvidia is the kind of stock where you blink, and the next thing you know, you're looking at taking a long $15 higher than where you were going to take a short. But breakout trades have worked in breakdowns. Palantir just took out, did it? Yeah, it just took out that 23.3, so we're out of that, but it just wicked back under. I'll let things calm down before I reshort that. Like everything that was an initial great short basically came right back up, and shorting them on the way back was not the way to go. So I think you got to be very patient working back into any shorts. The only one we never got was Coinbase. So, I mean, clearly Coinbase is the short. Market just bounced huge. What are we even doing? Coinbase down 8%. It didn't even budge.
Oh, man. Bad.
Yeah, Coin is, it's going to be tricky to get into this. Let me just double check on Mara here. Yeah, Mara is literally at the low of the day as well. So it's always a little bit trickier trying to formulate something into the low of the day that isn't flat out, hey, if Mara breaks this bottom here at $17, we'll go short through 17. Like that's easier. But going off of the pre-market low 1786, that gives you a short the pop situation. So working back into 1775 into a 1790, that's not terribly bad there on Mara. We wanted short one of these two names. I actually thought it would be Coinbase, but we'll see what we can get here with Mara. Not SSR yet. It's not going to be 10% down just yet. But if it does get 10% down, I would change my behavior a little bit. I'm not aggressively trying to short something when it gets to the 10% mark. Thanks, Rob.
All right. All right. Well, we got a little bit of a fill. Finally, Apple went to the downside. We got like a low 70 bid there, but we're waiting for a little bit more. We got stopped out of AMD. We talked about that one. As now AMD's pushing a little bit lower. That's too bad, man, about all of this. I just want to, we often celebrate some of our wins and some of our victories as well. So even behind us right now, there's only 4 positive traders. It hasn't been a super easy day here today, so we'll wait to see what happens. But Apple right now starting to push back in a little bit. This is a good trade for us. We're well up on Apple, obviously, if this continues to go down. I mean, I shouldn't say like we're well up on it until we actually get filled, but there's another fill for us. Damn you, AMD, man. We were short here at 181, of course, as it goes back into 180.40. Darn, that would have been, wow, that would have been a good one there. As we got stopped out at 180. This is basically where we were on the short. Didn't hold it enough, but guess what's happening right now? We'll put Apple, hopefully, back in now. So here comes Apple. Let's see if we get a 59 fill. That'll be pretty good there. And then we'll bid again at 50s, just for small. And then we want this really to fall down, man. I am bidding 174.20s to see if we can get that fill as well. But who knows? Nice little fill there on Apple as we waited for 175. So patience is key there. Not very good patience on AMD, that is for sure. So there it is. Thank you so much for the talk on Apple. That's fine, but honestly, I'm not super happy that we gave up AMD there before VWAP. We should have held that. We got nervous and didn't analyze it properly. That happens. Anyways, AMD upside. Let's see if we can short it again against VWAP. Obviously, we're going to have to watch out for Apple and for Nvidia right now. That's too bad. Damn it.
Yeah, with Nvidia, oh my goodness, Mara. Like Mara's now 9.5%. We're not going to get
9.5.
It's like it's falling like a rock. You basically just had to punch the bottoms. Look, I got wicked out of Intel, and it never got to VWAP when the market went higher. So we're just short right back where we got in. If it's relatively weak, I probably shouldn't have gotten out of that one. I'll acknowledge that. It's showing you weakness. Why not take advantage of it? Got wicked out on the way back in Palantir, but there's the wick out. I made that top. I'll get back in at VWAP and give it to the local high. Nvidia is still, it actually wicked VWAP. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Wicked VWAP right back underneath. Are we really going to, if we do this dance, I'd still take an 850 break. I just hope we can find a trade better than that before that. Give me a break, Mara.
Can't believe we had Nvidia. Or we had
Mara, I need to get into the Mara short, and I don't want to punch a bottom. I'm just going to sit on the offer in the 60s. If it bounces off the evens, I think we have a chance of getting that one. Mara is falling like a rock. Where is Coinbase? Maybe an even dollar break on Coin.
Oh my God.
218 is the low. That's down 8.5% and still going. Like I just reloaded Palantir. Like the things that are giving you the shorts are not, like the easy ones are the ones that are breaking lows right now. Like you're seeing some of these crypto names absolutely flushing. And remember, we were talking about for IBIT, we're close to that 35 level where I'm looking for a wick bottom. So 35 could come in and would have to break the low for that. If it holds 35 even, let's go to the 15-minute and show you guys what I mean. If it does this again, which is the last time it broke this level, I want the reversal play. But it has to break down and show me just a big wick and then play the reverse. So that's what I'm looking for on IBIT. I'll only do that trade on IBIT. I'm not looking to do the same thing on Mara or Coinbase.
All right. We kind of got short Tesla. Let's see if it works. We're bidding there 9. Okay, there it is. So we're now in the money on this one. So let's see if this one will want to work for us a little bit. We did make some money back here a little bit. We got it. Okay, now we're making some money back, and by a little bit I mean not a little bit. We're making a decent amount back here as AMD starts to come back in a little bit. We talked about there only being 4 positive traders, and I've screwed that up because we gave up AMD and we went red on that name on that move back up. I really thought I liked that. So we'll see if we can get it back right now as here we go. Break 180 finally and get back down. We are really starting to put some damage back in on AMD now. Sure, it's only 50 cents in the money, but we're taking some bids now on that name as it comes back. Apple went up to the upside one more time. So if this continues to rip up, we do have our target there at 175.25 for Apple. I don't know, man. This day could get a lot worse if some of these names start to rip on us. But here goes Tesla again.
We're not going back down.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm short only. So we'll rate here 170. That's VWAP. We just touched out 170.50. We'll average this into 170. And then honestly, if we lose, we lost going long there on Tesla when my idea is long. So to lose short's really going to suck. So we're going to punch out of this at 170.50. Let's not give this one as much room as maybe we did the others. So right now, we're going to watch out for that as Nvidia makes a move back up to 865 again.
Yeah, Nvidia is starting to look strong at this moment. Like it holding VWAP here would be huge, but you're getting a series of higher lows into what looks like a flat top break at 865. It gets back above VWAP. And I'm not getting out of a bunch of shorts, but I'm not aggressively looking for shorts if this breaks 865, and I do want a break of that stock. Let's go to Adara at the desk. We've got some news.
Speaking of NVIDIA, we do have some comments coming out from Jensen Huang right now, CEO speaking to CNBC, saying apparently that the company's R&D budget for its Blackwell platform was roughly $10 billion. So some comments regarding that big announcement re Blackwell that we got yesterday from Jensen Huang's keynote at the GTC conference. So NVDA continuing to be on watch there, guys.
Yeah, it just won't even crack VWAP. We're back into Meta off of, I'm going to show you the level here on the, not the daily, the 15-minute chart. So there is yesterday's bottom. We missed our long. I'll stop to fail on myself for that. Like I had a bid and wasn't aggressive in terms of, like we're sitting on the bid, but when it got down there, I didn't look to see like, hey, you're not getting filled. Punch in when it goes back above 482. So that was a bit of a miss. But now I like you look at previous support, it just wicked it there at 487.70, and so we're back short in the 486 range. So if it takes a fresh high, we're out. If it holds down here and we curl in the futures, and I think Meta can get back down, maybe not to 481. I think that's a bit of a pipe dream.
Here we go.
But some out in front of 485, and then see how far it can work down from there on Meta.
Here we go. We getting jiggy with it yet? All right, here we go. Come on, AMD. We should have reloaded it, but we'll just hold on to this and see how far we can go. We just got some 180s. I'm going to bid down there at 179, like 70. Hopefully we can get that fill. If we break through 180, it's all good right now for that one. Tesla's still battling with it, and then Apple. I mean, we're short Apple right here at this price. So, I mean, hopefully the market will dip off of that VWAP, and we'll see. Here we go. We'll see a little bit of a downside push right now. All right. We sort of righted the wrong a little bit with AMD by going short and being in the money 50 cents. But the problem is we only have 30% left, which is why we're waiting for a bigger move down. Like we just shorted that. We were waiting for more shares up here. But again, good position, working. Let's respect it and see what happens right now on that one. As you could see there, I mean, Tesla's got juice, and it's just crazy now that we were initially wanting to go wanting to go long on this name, lost on the long, and now we'll give it back, I guess, again for the short, because the long is working out here for Tesla as we continue to go higher on this name. We're dropping nicely though, man. Apple is really starting to pay out right now, as we'll have to go over there and start to look at this one. Nice trade for me on Apple as we reloaded that. We're still bidding 66 here on Apple. We're making back pretty much everything now on that Apple trade. Tesla's fading back in a little bit. Let's bid something here at 170, take a little bit out. That's our average price, 169.90. Here comes a dip down in. Let's start to take some profits on Tesla because, again, this name was not trading the way we thought it would. Tesla downside. Man, we making money back now, boys and girls. Nice move back down into the downside here as we waited out for this move to happen. Finally taking the 50 period. Let's get out of some Apple. And we're starting to put damage on the board here, Neil. Nice move downside on Tesla as that gets us back into the money. 60 cents in the money on Tesla. Now $1. This is the damage that's happening. Now $1.25 in the money on AMD. And 40 cents for Apple is what we're looking for here on AAPL. Man, that was a sweat job.
Yeah, I mean, the market's been basically a sweat job unless you essentially were just holding from the open like those shorts. Some of the longs out the bottom were pretty precipitous. If you make a mistake getting out of a stock at a bad price and you get the opportunity to get back in, it makes sense to do so. Because I'll tell you right now, I trailed out of Intel and it could have been a big sucker's move, but we got back in at exactly the same price that we had got out on. And it's making fresh lows. This stock stinks right now, and it stinks something awful. Meta, okay, Meta's flat. Mara is what I'm on Mara right now. It's like, yeah, Meta Mara. They both begin with an M. That's close enough, right? Why not? We're both in them. 17.5 is the low. I'm going to get a bid out in front of that. And then remember, you have a flat bottom here at 17.15. That's the low from 2 days ago. So before it gets to the evens, want to make sure we're taking profit. Palantir is staying in the pocket here on that reload. It's still above VWAP. Hey, if that makes a fresh high, that's holding VWAP as everything else started to come back down. So Mara working. Meta flat, Intel working to the downside. Nvidia, if you're tracking, did not make a break. So it's still, like, this is a very much inside-ish type of day on, as much as $15 can feel that way on Nvidia. So no 850 break, no 865 breakout to the upside. That's good for the shorts. Remember I said if 865 went, I'd seriously consider how much I wanted to be shorting the market. It didn't go, so we're still short. So for now, that's looking good. I'm not going to look at Coinbase again because I'm just going to get some FOMO. And then Mara, if it bounces off that low, we'll take some out. It did not get to $18 here. I have a lot of dark pool wicks. It held the pre-market low there on Mara, 1788.
All right, we're now $1.50 in the money right now as we got some diamond hands now on AMD finally, so good trade there. And look, I haven't done this in a minute, so let's do it right now. Hit the like and the damn subscribe. I mean, right now, 875 likes with over 7,400 watching. Hit the like button. I want to look back at this and see like 1,500. Like, let's double this up immediately. Why? You might say, well, because we're here every single day. We've got so many different, you can look at this on your iPhone. You could do it the other way. There's portrait mode. There's Twitch. There's Rumble. There's not Rumble. There's Instagram stories. We're everywhere right now, and man, are we feeling it right now. Let's go. Boom. Nice little move to the downside right now for Apple. Apple just gets us those 59s. Nice play for Apple as we sit there, and man, we ain't going nowhere. We told you about that. If we write something down on the sticky note, that's what we're taking. Nice move right now. AMD starting to go to the downside right now as we start to spin down. 178.50. Let's go, man. Big trade. Another $2 in the money right now for AMD on a reloaded position. We're still here, baby. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and look at that. Thank you so much, man. We're staying late for everybody, man. We're doing the midday lesson there with Neil, Market Madness midday lessons. We've got this show going, 1.2. Thank you so much for that. And we got the recap show going. We've got the podcast going. We've got everything, man. I'm not staying late for no damn reason. It's for everybody. Thank you for the like and the subscribe. And thank you to Adara, who always works so damn hard. But this is $2.50 in the money. Adara, you may not like hot dogs, but the sure market does. There's a fill down there at 178, man. We put that in there, wondering if we're going to get it. Answer, yes. $2 in the money on a reloaded position that we put on 10 minutes ago. Kill him with kindness, Miss Adara.
IWM forming a little bit of a wedge here, finding a bit of support at that earlier area of resistance, but not too much happening right now for the Russell 2000, slightly down on the day. Lots of small cap runners to talk about today, though, including Syngin, CYN. This one up 20% on a story of a collaboration or deployment with Rivian. This is a self-driving company working with Rivian, so nice look here for CYN. We also have SC Works, WORX. No catalyst on this one, but lots of social media attention, and it does have a float of just over 1 million shares, market cap of 2.28 million. So very small float here for WORX, up over 100% right now, guys. And last but not least, International Paper, IP is the ticker for this one, announcing a new CEO for the company. So nice look, up just about 9% to the upside here for IP.
Get some IP.
We don't give investment advice in the show. We're just traders. But if it's not Dunder Mifflin, then I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, they have the best prices.
Thanks, no thanks. It was International Paper. Is that what that was? Yeah. So thanks, but no thanks. International Paper. I said this, and I'm rethinking whether I actually want to go long on Intel. But I did say if it got to $41, this time I would look for the long. And today it doesn't. Oh my goodness. We'll see. It's going to get to 41. It seems like. But there was just a big buyer at 41.5 that did this. So there's your wick down. 41.5 came in and trailed me out. So we shorted at 42.20. We reloaded it when it couldn't get VWAP. We're now out there. Meta's starting to roll back over through VWAP. We got some VWAP. That's like That's now 4 consecutive holds at 485.5. We're short 486.5. I think if it breaks, it's got room to head to the downside. Mara, as you know, has been tanking. You've been watching it, it's trying to break 17.5 here. There's a big level at 17.5, and it goes short sell restricted in a few pennies. So I am geared to maybe punch some out if it makes another test of this low without actually holding 10% into the downside. So we're able to get that intel. We'll power that one up. All the chip names, save Nvidia, have been really breaking down. Nvidia still hasn't broken 850 bucks. But that's the good thing with a breakdown trade. You know what? I don't have to be in Nvidia. Apparently, I don't have to be in Nvidia today. But it is underneath 855, or at least it was 2 seconds ago. So under 855, my order goes back in for the breakdown. It's that simple. Because once it's close, I want to be ready. But the shorts are paying off here, and the one we never got, of course, has been Nvidia. Coinbase, if you like it, that's also at the low of the day. I just happened to find a setup in Mara, that's all.
Yeah, I mean,
Coinbase is down almost 10%.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Coinbase and what kind of, I thought that was fraudulent move all the way to the upside on Coinbase. So we did talk a little bit about that, but again, you know, you gotta be in it to comment on it, I guess. All right, so there we go. Apple. The fact is, we talked. The reason why I say that is like we talked about wanting Coinbase, but it just never got to those levels.
Oh,
so it's
really?
well. Yeah, it got to 228. Yeah, we were looking at 234. So got within a couple bucks. But yeah, no, nice fade on VWAP to the downside. We've already sort of talked about that. As Bitcoin's now at 62.5, man, not a great opportunity there for many crypto heads today, that's for sure. We did get short Tesla more down here. We're now 20 cents in the money. Let's just take a bid there for Tesla. I was bidding 25s. Okay, there it is. So we get that fill as it comes back down for this name. We're just going to hold on to all the shorts, man. We've got a reloaded position here. Okay, well, now that we've reloaded this, we'll take a bid out on Apple. If we can get a 74, let's just punch out and get some 76s there. All right, now let's cancel our 74 and bid a little bit lower. Let's bid 70 flat on this, and then we're in the 60s, then we're in the 50s, and then hopefully we're a heck of a lot lower. But we need a market to flush down. I don't think we have really any economic numbers coming our way, so not too much to look forward to right now on the day, other than just the market doing its own thing. And right now, I don't know, shout out to anybody in the chat that's maybe sitting on their hands right now, because I don't know, we were looking at 18,000 before, and then yesterday we had 18.3 up here as being somewhat key, and right now you're at 18.1. So you're really in the middle now of everything. You're in the middle of the range today. You're under VWAP, but above the 50-period moving average. It's not like, for me anyways, it's not a recipe for success unless you're still trading like the same names that you've been trading. So like in AMD, we know the plan of action here. It's a short. We've talked about how disgusting these chip names have been and how people are sleeping on the fact that these names are really getting hit now. Shout out to Kyle. Shout out to some of you in the chat that have been noticing this, man. There's been a nice downside push. I mean, even in a strong name like Meta, you know, like, look, you think this is holding up? It still has a 525 high, and you're down to 485. So that's still 40 bucks off the top of 500. So you're still down that 7-8% right now on that name as well. And here we go. Let's see how low we can get on Tesla now. We do have that short back in here at 170.50, and we do have a bid at 169.50. So let's see if we can get a bid down here right now. And hey, let's just take that right now and face slap ourselves out a little bit on a Tesla short starting to work out. AMD's $2, but you know what's not happening? Apple. Apple seems strong up here right now.
Microsoft is strong.
Yeah, so some of these index
Apple.
names are strong.
Meta's starting to look strong as well. Okay. It might break that 488. Here we go.
175.
Someone just asked, are there any longs out there? Well, Meta could be a flat top break at 48. That's where my stop is. I'm short right here at 87 quarters. And that was a reload that we just got. I just feel Microsoft is stronger than Meta. So I'd rather be like the stock that's been long the whole way. I'd rather be looking at that one if I'm taking a breakout at 420. It's 420. I said 420 like right away at the open. It got to 419.69, oddly enough. So 420 and then 419.69. You don't make these stuff up. Those are the actual levels on this stock. So I'm going to get a stop order for a breakout trade on Softy breaking that top. If it takes out yesterday's high, I want to already be in that bad boy. Mara is probably going to bounce from here. It got to that 1740 level. So it's on a bit of a bounce. I don't know if it's a VWAP retracement that we're looking at. We'll play it by ear. If it pops back into VWAP, then we'll take that one back into the short. Palantir, after that initial short, it's just holding on to VWAP. We shorted it, got stopped on the way back. We shorted it again, just missed the bid, and it's trying to stop out the high. Fresh high, we jump out of that trade. I don't want to be fighting Palantir too much. Nvidia, yeah, we'll let you guys know where it goes, if it breaks that 850 or the 865. I think Microsoft is a much better bet at this point for a break.
All right. What's up, Kevin Mendoza? You guys want bangers? I mean, this is now $1.30 in the money on Tesla. We're now $3 in the money on AMD, and we'll just wait to see what happens with Apple. I'm just going to sit in these shorts. Like, honestly, I don't have too much else. AMD not working, says Trade Forever. You must be long. I apologize, because the short is now $2.50 in the money. And then Snow. So you talked about Snowflake and AMD, and Snowflake, I told you, this is probably. I was looking at this. I do want to buy this name. I want to buy some more Snowflake. I'm not in Snowflake now. We were in it early when we sort of bought Palantir. We had a beautiful run up for Snowflake. We're out of it way before here. We're out of this like a year and plus ago. I'm not even going to look at the chart because it doesn't matter for now. But let's just go back to what we're trading. All right, nice move down here. And again, we have to take profit when profit lies. We've talked about, being a little bit of a rough day here today. So it's not been a rough day, but at the same time, I just feel like some of these names aren't doing what I thought they would do, and whenever that happens, I don't get happy. But here goes Apple. Nice move to the downside. We're 30 cents in the money on Apple. We're $2.50 on AMD, and we're $1 and change on Tesla. I do have a bid on Tesla, 168.60. So I think we can break here on this name. And this is what I mean about not being super happy with everything, because we were long Tesla, lost, and we were short and lost there. We're making the back on the short. We're actually making more money now back than we lost, obviously, as we're multiples in the money here. But maybe we're bouncing off 169. All right, let me put a bid down here, take a fill, and cancel our 168. If we could take $1.40 right now and get this fill down here, then we should just do that. There it is. We're bidding. There it is. Let's go, man. Let's face slap it out again. That's for you, Mr. Mendoza. There it is right now. $1.40 Tesla.
Mendoza.
The Mendoza line. We do now have $3 in the money right now on AMD. So there it is, man. We're finally starting to print some cash now here today. Did you?
That was Simpsons. That's.
I don't know enough.
It's. What's the big guy with the movies? He's like their Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonator or whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. Meta, look, I had to respect VWAP here. We're going to go to Darren in a second, but we shorted it again off 488. Let it get to that high and shorted it right in front of the top, but look at the higher lows. So you got to take, you don't have to, but if I see higher lows, then that's trending up when I'm going short. So you take that profit before it gets to our target underneath 486. Now if it runs the high, we've grabbed some out. Mara's still looking okay, but it's 10:30. Let's see what's going on in crypto.
Yeah.
Hopefully still tanking.
Interesting update here. This report coming from Markets Insider is saying that all of the crypto fund flows that we've seen so far this year have surpassed that of the entirety of 2021, which is one of the peak eras for the pandemic bull run for crypto. So interesting look here for those surpassing the previous level at $13.2 billion according to CoinShares data. This was as of yesterday. So nice look here and showing the strength of the Bitcoin phenomena this year so far. Although right now, Bitcoin very much to the downside, just above that 62,000 area, falling quite steadily off of that 68,000 area we were holding up pretty well at yesterday. Currently here around 62.7 for Bitcoin, down about 6.5% on Binance. Ethereum down about 10%, hanging out at that 3,200 level, just above that. Lots of weakness across the board here for these cryptocurrencies. Solana down 12%, below 200 again. Cardano down 7%. Avalanche down 7%. Dogecoin down about 10%. So weakness across the board here for these cryptocurrencies. And we are brought to you by Benzinga Pro. You can sign up today for 50% off their premier news and research platform for retail traders with code TTV capital letters. Use the link in the description to go to checkout.
Adara, like I thought we had this idea, like if Cardano's down, we skip it. We've talked
Don't
about
just
this.
ignore it.
Right.
Well,
so,
you shouldn't do that.
All right. So, yeah.
You shouldn't do that.
So she made a mistake about Cardano. It's not, no, it's down 7%. We'll have to watch out. I mean, some of these names continue to get beat up. We've talked about that, man. I've unstaked more Solana. We'd like to get some of this out. Below 200, yeah, you're getting cracked big time. Solana was just up yesterday. We talked about that. What was it, 220 or something yesterday or over the weekend? We really got going on this one. And so there it is right there. Oh, here, let's just go to a 7-day chart just to see what that high was. 210, sorry. So we got to 210, a huge pullback into 170. And by huge, I mean we're giving back 3 days. Let's see what happens here on some of these crypto pullbacks. And you know what? You're going to get rinsed on some of these plays. You can't celebrate the upside without taking some money out. And that's what we've done there.
True.
We've talked about that, and we're doing that right now on all of the stuff that we're trading.
If you never actually sell something, you don't actually make any money on it unless it pays you a dividend.
Right.
It is what it is.
Which is why, actually, we talked about this before, which is why I staked. I mean, I got 5 free SOL just by staking. So 5 times 200, it's $1,000 just by sitting it there. That's a dividend.
Yeah, staking is a dividend, yeah.
I mean, it's not really, but it's paying like it. So
effectively, it's the same principle.
Yep. Yeah, you can't treat it like tax because you're going to have to keep it as capital gains. But tax man cometh always. So deal with that your damn self. All right. So 174.60 right there. I am very scared of doing my taxes. I don't even want to do them. But here we go. Apple's making that move back up. We did get out. It's just, and I just tweeted it out. Like Apple, we did have it as a 175 short. It's been giving you the 175 short, but it's not giving you anything else. That's the problem. It's like it's not dipping in. It's dipping into 60s and everything like that. But this is how I lose. I already know how I lose. It's like I wait for a bigger move that doesn't happen. And then once it goes to the upside, then I'm getting out of everything, right? So not a good trade there if that's your strategy. And it's not really paying off right now, Apple. So we need this to dip in. I do have some more bids. We're bidding some 65s again, then some 55s. Let's see what happens here with Apple. I'm still in the trade and I still like it. And I'll short more. But for now, we got to wait for Apple to do something. What's up, A?
Kohl's, KSS, looking really nice this morning, just breaking out of that previous area of resistance, announcing increase to their home section by about 40%. It is worth noting, though, with KSS, there is a 25% short float, so that could be the real story here. Keep an eye on Kohl's, guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously watch out with a lot of the retailish type of names because of that. When you have sympathy going to the upside, firms that might be short, like a swath of retail names, if too many of them start to go, you get squeezes. Mara, look at this wipeout bottom candle. We're able to get a 1740 bid. Remember, this is SSR. So it went 10% down. This was essentially like an SSR bounce. So if it breaks this lower high at 1775, I'm out. And I'll hunt for another trade just because it went short sell restricted. That's the entire reason that I'd be jumping out of that trade. Look at VWAP holding on Meta. I think, all right.
I think I can.
I should always, it's like execute first. Maybe need to cross the spread a little bit there. So I'm getting out of Mara. Now the reason why is we've reclaimed 18.1, Meta. We've reclaimed 18.1 after a successive higher lows. I think getting back into the short off 488 or simply looking for the short elsewhere is going to make some sense. The other thing that is happening is Nvidia screaming to the upside. So I might end up being wrong about that, but I'd rather take that money, put it into the pocket, and if we get trapped in a reversal short, like I can short Intel again, I'm in Palantir, I'm still in Mar, which I liked better than Meta anyways. And of course, as I say that, Nvidia goes to force 864. Oh, I guess you did. I had this breaking 865, but I got some dark pool wicks in there, so I don't know how much I trust that. It could not have broken 865, could it? I guess it did, and like 866 was a high. So it was breaking that top, and I said I wanted to cover some shorts. I was able to get profits on Meta when Nvidia made that move, but that might have been the wrong call, because Nvidia is right back underneath 865. Oh my goodness, that stock. Oh, by the way, Intel, still making fresh lows. This is screaming, if it gets to VWAP, just try to take a retrace, the way this is trending into the downside. This is a lot. It's only down 2.8%, but the trend of it is just so clean. What a dog that thing is.
All right. I'm going to
go ahead.
try to short Nvidia at 868. I mean, we just stopped there. Basically, that was 866. This high right here is 869. I just kind of want to short into here against 870. So let's just wait to see if I mean, it's tanking. It's not, sorry.
What's that high?
Which one?
860, no, the lower high. I can't tell.
I don't know. The lower high, this?
That one, yeah.
Yeah, 6630, 6650. Okay, so that's something there. Yeah, I'm going to try to go short into 868, which is just, I mean, we could go 869. I want to give this to 870 break. Maybe that's 870.50 right there. So let me just change that a little bit here. 870.51. If it does pop into that, we'll get out. Okay, so we talked about what's going to happen to Apple. Look, Apple just popped huge through 175. So we're going to get out here if it does take this out. 175.31. It looks like it's trying to go higher. We talked about this as being our stop from the whole time. So we're going to take a 30-cent hit here. We could only get 30 cents maximum on the downside. So here it comes. You know, again, I kind of feel, I don't really feel any ways about it because we had talked about this name not really doing anything and on a move higher. This is not surprising me at all. It's just we probably should have flipped over to the long when we realized this. So that's okay. All right, Tesla, we did take out profit on Tesla. We're back in it right now. So 171, let's see what happens with Tesla. We're short right now at 170.70. And this is what I mean about this day not being great. It's like trades will go in the money for us multiple dollars and then it'll just come right back up. So be careful here. And I guess we're about to get short into Nvidia in a minute maybe because 864.
Oh, that's a big maybe.
So that's still going down. So Apple going higher, Tesla going higher, Nvidia going lower. Go figure.
Yeah, it doesn't have to make sense, especially with Nvidia today, but it just, your trades have to make dollars for a really bad pun. I had to clean up some orders, I just realized. Really got to clean up some orders. I had some AMD way out of the market. Mara, before we go to second watch just very quickly, Mara did take out that local high, so I'm getting out of this because of the SSR bounce. It went 10% down, and then this is the bounce. Usually that, if it gets to VWAP, that's 18. I might look for a reshort there. Let's go to Adara now. It is sector watch time.
Just be aware right now, CNBC talking about DIS, Disney, with regards to that backing from George Lucas, the single largest individual shareholder of the company, over the Nelson Peltz and Trian proxy fight. So just a note there on Disney. Disney and the consumer service sector pretty flat, along with a lot of the sectors today. Health technology, finance, retail trade a little bit stronger. Home Depot did get an upgrade today, so a little bit of strength in that area, as did Lowe's. Retail trade a little bit stronger here. Utilities, energy, minerals, and health services all have quite a few green names, as does consumer non-durables, but definitely a lot of weaker or flat sectors here as well. Commercial services pretty flat. Consumer durables, Tesla leading this one a bit to the downside here. And of course, we do have our tech-related sectors. Some weakness here in tech services, but electronic technology absolutely worth discussing. Nvidia, Intel, and AMD leading all of these chip names to the downside. We do have that GTC conference for Nvidia on watch all week, so this sector definitely will continue to be in discussion, guys.
Thank you very much there, Dara. Oh, Softy, so close to that 420, but these breaks have not been happening just yet. If there's any, this market is now screaming. Intel can't even go more than 10 cents up. You gotta be kidding me.
The chip names are the ones getting beat up here.
It is, 100%. Oh my goodness.
You got stopped out of Apple.
ARM, we totally forgot about ARM's at VWAP as well. So if Intel's not getting to VWAP, ARM is stair-step down, and that is at VWAP. And I haven't even looked at ARM today, but down 5% because it's a chip name.
Oh, yeah.
Probably it's, whatever. There's a lot of things that are down that are not chip names, but stair step to the downside. I was looking for VWAP or traces. That's 123.5. So we've been shorting this one. We did this yesterday on ARM. I don't know why I didn't look at it already today. See that move? Once it failed a break early and then trended down later in the afternoon, it's a couple of times off VWAP into some lows. Well, one fail off VWAP. If it does it a second time, then great. The market is looking like it wants to press higher. Anything that's putting in lower highs, I think is good for the short because it's showing you it's still within that trend. Nvidia is not setting up even dollar breakouts. So I haven't taken a single trade on this stock. But 870 long. That's so stupid because if you had just gone long off the 850 level, but it is what it is. I mean, it's a flat top break if it breaks 870, but it's a breakout trade. Like, it breaks that, I'm getting in, and it better work right away. Otherwise, you know what? Like, I'm getting out of Dodge very quickly. So it's got to be an 870 break. That's yesterday's low. If it gets back through there, I'll look for the scalp trade. That's my style. I scalp breakout trades, look for those $5 moves. First push, then the $5 mark, and in this particular case, if it gets to 890, that's a hard out in front of 890. But it has to break 870 first. There hasn't been a single breakout trade or breakdown trade for me yet in this stock. As crazy as Nvidia's been.
Yeah, we're in Nvidia right now, and it's not doing a whole heck of a lot, but we talked about taking that 68 short. And here it goes, man. We are going to get out if it breaks above 870, as Neil was just mentioning here. Worth the shot, $2. We just put a bid down there at 866. Let's see if it fades out again. We were short at 868 flat, but this name is moving multiple dollars at a time, so you got to give it a little bit of room. We talked about where our stop is here on Nvidia, so let's let it breathe just a little bit. All right, so we talked about the fail, so let's do that again right there, because Apple took out that eye. Look, we got out. I don't know. You know, now it's come back in. What are you supposed to do? All right, Tesla. We're short Tesla right now, but just right here, off of 171. We're bidding some low targets here. We're just bidding one at 70, 170, 70. Our out's 171.50. Looks like that could get tested here as the market takes VWAP and starts to go back up to the upside. So, yeah, we're in a bunch of shorts here as the market now finally taking VWAP. The reason why we're in these shorts, we just thought the market could fade off of here. Remember I said about 30 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago that, you know, credit to anybody that's probably sitting on their hands. Not a bad strategy here as the market tries to figure itself out. So, it's 10:44. There's going to be lots of trading available today, man. I mean, the volume's not dying on Nvidia. The volume's not dying on Tesla or Apple or anywhere like that. So here we go. Let's see what happens with Nvidia trying to break back down below now.
So BTC's making a move up, but
okay,
I mean, look, you saw the way those things fell. I'm not in a rush to short those on the way back up. I'm talking about like Mara and Coinbase or any of that stuff. I think you give it a little bit of more room to calm down. Like the open trades have already happened. Microsoft broke the 420 level, so there's your local high in there, 419.5. Like to me, that working right away. I want to break out at this time of day to work right away. It's not 9:30. This is like almost 11 o'clock. So I'm only giving it that 50 cents. On an open trade, a little bit different. You're taking highs at 11 o'clock, which is just a different beast. But if Coinbase gets to VWAP, I'll stop saying when. Maybe it can't even get there. I'm looking for that curl off VWAP. Mara, the only difference between these and like Bitcoin is you have to work off of the SSR fact as well. So these are short sell restricted. You can get better bounces off of those, but as they get back into VWAP, I'm still looking to fade them. Intel doesn't want to even sniff VWAP all morning. Although, okay, that's not true. Like it's kind of gone close, but it just tagged 74s. I just reshorted that at 69s because why not? And it was in front of 70. It's like the third time I've had a price of 69 today. So I'm shorting back into Intel on VWAP. It's just the same trade that we've done. This is now the third time on the same pattern for Intel. If it loses, eventually it was going to have to make some kind of a move up, you'd think.
All right, we took $1 on Nvidia of a third of it. We were going to wait for 866, but it's just bouncing around right now. So we'll take out $1 there, and then we'll just wait for lower. I mean, let's hope it gets lower for us. I mean, we still have that 870 break. If it breaks, we'll be down a little bit because we'll lose $2 on 2/3, but make $1 on a third. So the math is going to work out not in our favor if it does break above 870. My next bid is down here at 860. So let's see if we get going. Actually, now that I see it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out once it gets down there. But there it is. It's now $2 in the money. We'll see if we can have some diamond hands on Nvidia as it's trying to work its way back down. Here it goes. Let's see if it takes 866. So looks like it wants to. There you go. You could get the bid right now if you wanted. It's pushing that bid at 866.10. So that was a trade that we were normally waiting for, but we did cash it out $1 earlier. Let's see if we could fade even lower here on Nvidia. So that's going to be a trade for us. And I just think that you should, no matter what, make sure you're watching the midday show. They're going to be trading Nvidia and Tesla and all that. What's the topic today? Today we're talking about support and resistance pullbacks from Sharif. So that should be fun. Pay attention to that. So right now, the only shorts we have on are AMD and Nvidia. That's it. Tesla does break a little bit higher there. We get out, but basically for flat, it does touch as high as 171.50. We got out on like a 171 break, so that's where we were short. Let's see if we can maybe get back into the short. But we've already got short Nvidia, and I like that trade. We're short Nvidia and we're short AMD. The shorts might not be that great. You're above VWAP right now, and if we could take this level, man, we got to try to find some longs. The one only
Why didn't I flip Meta?
We were only long one time here today. The only trade that we thought about going long was right here, and Amazon's kind of just been a flat. We were able to get a little bit before it broke higher, but right now Amazon, maybe a break of 175.50 or so could get that going. That's 175.60, so you know that could be a long if you're looking for it, but right now we're back in the money, $1 on AMD, sorry, $2 on AMD and $1 on Nvidia, but looking for these names to break lower. I'm happy just sitting here in them, guys.
Yeah, I didn't reverse on Meta. I had to ask myself when it goes like this, like that flat top break was pretty much like a clean dollar win. We got away from this because of what, honestly, like Nvidia was taking 865 in that moment. I'm like, okay, if Nvidia is breaking that level, I don't want to be fighting anything short. So we just got out in front of VWAP and look at it hold. Every single time I was covering short for a win, that was actually a really good place to be buying the dip. On Meta. Nvidia, if it takes it, I'll still take an 870 break, but it has to break 870. Microsoft is still hanging out at that top after breaking the high, just barely. If it takes out the high, yesterday's top is 470.70. That's a good force, or 420.70. Don't know why I don't have an order there. Usually I put one in front of that resistance spot. I'm not stopped out of Microsoft. I was saying my stop is down here. That local bottom was like 419.50. I'm just underneath that for a stop level. Someone said the bids are stacked on Tesla.
Yeah.
You know, Tesla, I said I wanted above 72s for a long. I didn't even realize it got up here back to 71. So if this is breaking 72s and holding a bit over there, like that, I like that long, but it's going to be Nvidia right now at that 870 level. So every single time I have stared at a breakout or breakdown on Nvidia today, it has been the absolute perfect time to go in the other direction. There has not been a single break of the key levels that I wanted. And that's 850 like thrice. Will it be 870 as well as we go to, there it broke.
Yeah, Nvidia finally broke.
All right, come on, actually do something. It's not going the first dollar. Usually it goes that first dollar very quickly. Okay, never mind. It did.
It went a dollar.
That was a bit of a slow fill. I actually, no, I did get 71.70 there. So it did go $1.50 right away. If it gets to 8.75, to me, that's the next level up. But that's not as good a break as we've seen before on Nvidia. The last 2 days, when I've been taking breaks on Nvidia, like it would already be at 72, 73, not retesting back underneath 870. So I'm going to tighten this to 50s on my stop and not give it all the way back down. I just feel like that's not nearly as strong as it's been before. So, you know, I'm not believing that long as much as I've liked some of the other ones before. We're able to get that $1.50, but then took out the rest for like a 50-cent hit. Like the last 4 or 5 times I've been long that stock on a breakout like that, like when it gives you the $1.50, it's not pulling back underneath. Like that second or third test, it's like right back and snapping up, and it's not even holding the 870. So I might look to find something that I can reload for a short, which I think is going to be Intel at VWAP as we go to Money Talks.
Another day of upside for the DXY here. Actually pretty strong movement here. We had this wick up into 104, currently trading just below it around 103.90. We did get some economic data earlier today with regards to housing. Housing starts for February higher than expected, 1.521 million versus 1.43 million expected. Building permits for February also coming in a bit higher than expected. So 1.518 million versus 1.5 million expected. Building permits month over month up about 1.9%. So nice look across the board for these housing numbers. But of course, the big economic data that we're looking for is coming tomorrow at 2 p.m. with that Fed rate decision. The Fed began their policy meeting today. Then tomorrow at 2 p.m. we will get the decision and some comments from Fed Chair Powell after the decision comes out. So definitely stay tuned for that data. And then Thursday and Friday, a little bit of Fed speak as well. So definitely more data coming down the pipeline for the DXY. We also have the JPY to the USD relationship up here. This one was mentioned earlier as well. But JPY very much to the downside for the USD after the Bank of Japan announced its first rate hike in 17 years. So big move down here for the JPY on that news, guys.
Oh man, I mean, how frustrating is that? Both of us will be negative on Nvidia for different reasons. Like I'm short, he's long, basically at the same price, and we both lose. That's how tough.
Yeah, mine's
it
a
is.
flat trade.
No, but I mean, we're P&L both negative on
it's-
it. It's still, I mean, mine's pretty much flat as well, but it's still a negative trade there on Nvidia. That's so crazy that we can both have the same opposite prices and not make money on them. Okay, there it goes. And now, of course, it tanks, like as if. That's just frustrating. It's why we're still sort of holding on to AMD. This name has been so much easier to trade. Not historically, I don't think. I mean, I'm up way more on AMD in my lifetime than Nvidia. But I mean, that's frustrating because look what's happening now. We had a good position short, literally at 870, man. And there it is, 867. So again, you know, ifs and buts, candies and nuts, but nice move downside right there for that name. Frustrating, needless to say, on that name.
I gotta admit, like I'm actually not frustrated there because yesterday I took a similar breakout in Nvidia, and the amount was the same amount of shares, and the amount I'm down is 1/10 of what I made yesterday. But that's only because it immediately didn't look as strong. If I actually, like, if I had kept the risk as it was before, then I would have given back like a third to 40% of that breakout.
Yeah.
But like it flat out did not look good. If you were watching the bid above 870, it just didn't look good. Like usually when this stock is screaming through a breakout level, like you know Nvidia is tearing it up. And you can just see it, like the tape is like every single dip, it's like the tape just levitates 50 cents every time it moves down a little bit. That was not happening there on Nvidia. So I got away from it. I'm still in Microsoft. That's very slowly grinding higher. I mean, that is a slow grind off of a breakout on Microsoft. So the first dollar is literally almost painful to watch there. We only have 5 minutes before we go to the midday learning to trade, but I do want to come back over to some crypto names because Mara didn't quite get to VWAP. We like a VWAP chase. Not liked, I still do like it, but it didn't quite get to that $18 level. I wanted this to press a little bit harder into this level before I got short. You're not always going to get a gift of a wick like this to get into a short trade. Sometimes you just got to have to sit on the offer in a consolidation level. So that's what I'm going to do in front of VWAP here. Start at the 80s and see if we can't work our way back into that one. So Microsoft going up. I'm preferring Mara over Coinbase, but I don't think these charts look almost identical at this point, so I think you can work in any one of those two. Oh yeah, Tesla. Before we leave you guys, 172 on Tesla. If the market takes out highs, when Softy's going, I would suspect maybe Amazon's still strong. So if you take out these, they're not really the overnight highs. We'll call it the opening range top, 18.15. If we get there and we're breaking 172s on Tesla, I'm taking that long on Tesla. But for now, the only long I've got after getting out of Nvidia, as you can see, Nvidia's still underneath 870. So whatever.
Yeah, it's a good.
Like Microsoft is strong. Amazon, I'm double checking on that one. Okay, that's not breaking highs. What else is taking out the top trend? Probably Meta. Nope, Meta's not taking out the highs either. So what is pressing the highs other than Microsoft? I'm not seeing it out of the big cap tech names. Meta, I'd like VWAP here because look how gorgeous VWAP has been for longs, even though I was just covering shorts into it.
Yeah, I'm checking right now. Roblox is high. Some of the energy names are high.
Didn't that tank
XOM's
7.5% yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, I didn't even find out why. It's up 1% today. Amazon's at 175.20. But I was thinking about just going Microsoft long, to be honest with you. I mean, but we don't need to do anything. Like, I just keep saying this. It's like, I know we're breaking here. I almost feel like shorting this. We're down on the day, but we're above VWAP. I'm still mad about that Nvidia because that could have just turned the whole day around there if we just didn't get out at 870, but it did break. All right, we're $2 in the money here for AMD, so at least that's still holding out hope for that one. And we're just gonna wait. Oh, let's check out Alibaba. That was another trade that we had down to 72 bucks. Didn't get there, not even close, man. 72.80 for that one. So we'll figure out on that. Maybe we could short the NASDAQ if we really wanted to. Short the Qs or the triple Qs. Or TQ we could go with as well. Microsoft short 421 doesn't look horrible. That was the high that was the high yesterday. Okay, now we're starting to, damn you, Nvidia, honestly. This is why we talk about 870, that's okay. There's the break on Nvidia. Now you're down to 865. Remember we were bidding 866? So that's the risk to reward that I'm talking about. We'll lose $1, try to get 5, but there's the play down. I hope you guys held it. We did not. So with that kind of talk, I don't have anything. We also don't have lunch today yet. I don't have that out.
There is lunch. We just don't have, we don't know what it is.
There's lunch every day. Yeah, I don't have we do not have this today. If I get it within the next couple minutes, we'll run that for you. You're welcome, Ryan, man. It was a great show, that's for sure. But unfortunately, we're just in a $3 winner with AMD, and we don't have the big guy. We should have this. We don't. It's Nvidia. What can you do? We should have also shorted Rivian, by the way, when we were talking about it, up there at 1150. Went right back into that pre-market level. Not 1150, this level here, 1125, into that level of 1135. I guess it wasn't 1150. 1150 is that pre-market high.
But this could still be a breakdown.
Right there was good, man. And then $3 in the money for AMD. So, yeah, join us back here. Hopefully a few more winners than right now, and hopefully we can do that. But it's going to be a good day, but just not a great day. We'll end the day red, you know, and not a trophy day here. We'll see if we can lift it in the afternoon. But yeah, not too great for me today on all of that. But hey, we can still make it back. We're still in the pocket for our average day here, like I said. So not too bad. What happened to shorting the pops?
Depends on the stock.
We tried, man. We tried to short Apple. We tried to short Nvidia. I mean, look, we shorted the Nvidia pop. We just got stopped. So, unfortunately, Kyle, you know, we can win a lot, and we're still fine. But we're not going to win all the time. But we'll be back. We'll be back.
Best shirt, dots or lines?
What am I wearing? Dots?
It's because
dots.
we're wearing the same color shirt, and okay, that's what it is. Well, so what am I supposed? Like, as if
I voted lines.
Oh, you did? I'm voting for dots then.
There
I
you
was
go.
going to vote for myself, but then I actually don't. They're both nice shirts. I actually own. It's not that exact shirt, but suffice to say, I'm pretty sure I have a shirt that's almost identical.
Yeah, this one's pretty badass because it also has
almost
like
identical to that.
cuff stuff, so you can do like, you know, roll these up, all that kind of stuff. This is a pretty badass shirt.
It's about to hit 11. No, but you can still short pops like Mara VWAP, Coinbase
Oh my God,
VWAP.
Nvidia.
Coinbase almost at VWAP. I've reloaded Intel at VWAP. So I think there's still some things which are trending back into the downside, but other things just broke out some highs in there. So look, it's going to be a fun one. It's day one. The Fed meeting is 2 days long. Obviously, you're going to get the decision tomorrow, but the Nvidia event is giving you volatility. Crypto is giving you volatility. And we're going to get a lesson on some, I think, it's essentially it's like dip buying, I guess, in some ways. But get your learn on with Sharif and Adara and some trades as well. I'm going to make a guess that maybe one of those small caps that we haven't talked about at all this morning will be on tap for you in the midday with Sharif.
And you would be right, Neil. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That right there is a girl, Adara, and I am Sharif, and we're going to wait